Welcome to the Northwest Sports Fanatics YouTube channel. I am your host, Orion. I got a great show for you here today between the Seattle Mariners versus the Houston Astros. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into Tuesday night baseball. Let's get it, baby. And on the mound, on the left, one of our aces, Brian Wu. And on the right, a thorn in our side, always, Jose Altuve. Now, we got a 8-game winning streak versus the Astros going back to last year. We've won 5 in a row in 2026 against the Astros, and hopefully we can get another dub here tonight. Now, let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at third base, it's Donnie Brendan Donovan. Batting second, playing center field, it's J-Rod Julio Rodriguez. Batting third, playing first base, it's Nails Josh Naylor. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, catching today, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. 0 for 36. We may have to consider putting him on the IL and giving him 2 weeks of rest so he can get right. I feel that he's still injured and he's trying to fight through it. But at some point, hopefully he will be able to get a hit. His last hit was a home run, and that was all the way back in April. Got to find a way. Let's go, big dumper. Batting fifth, playing left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting sixth, playing right field, Luke Raley. Batting seventh, playing shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting eighth, DHing for Seattle, the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. And batting ninth, playing second base, Cole Clutch Young. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 2-2 record, ERA of 4.02, was electric on his last start. It's our guy, Brian Wu. And now let's get into the starting lineup for the home Houston Astros. Leading off for the Astros at second base, Jose Altuve. Batting second, DHing for Houston, power hitter Yordan Alvarez. Batting third, playing third base, Isaac Paredes. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman Christian Walker. Batting fifth, playing right field, Cam Smith. Batting sixth, playing left field, Zach DeZenzo. Batting seventh, playing shortstop, Braden Shoemake. Batting eighth, playing center field, Bryce Matthews. And batting ninth, catching today for Houston, Christian Vasquez. And on the mound for the Astros with a 1-0 record, ERA of 7.27, Tatsuya Imai. And if you remember, Mariner fans, the first time that we played him, we rocked him early and often, and he ended up leaving early within the third or fourth inning. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get a repeat performance and have him exit within the first couple innings, but that would be fantastic if we can get off to a fast start. We're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. '50th anniversary for the Seattle Mariners. Rick Riz, 40-plus radio years. He's already tallied in. He will be retiring this season, and we want to make sure we go out with a bang. Prayers up to everyone watching all over the globe. And again, Rick Riz, this is something that is definitely a special moment for a lot of us. Not really wanting to see him go, but again, he's had a fantastic career. Shout out to Rick Riz, Dave Niehaus, and everyone that has contributed for the Seattle Mariners. Female viewership is up. Global viewership is up. We are making some ground, not only in the United States and Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. Everyone watching all over the globe, I appreciate you. And we're just about ready for first pitch. Tatsuya Imai on the mound. Brendan Donovan in the box. First pitch to Donnie, high and away, four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour by Imai, 1-0 count. Dark Passenger in the building, Marine Bean in the building, Austin in the building, AZ in the building, what's good? 1-0 pitch, and there for a strike to Donnie. 1 ball and 1 strike to Brendan Donovan, four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour, high but in the zone. 1-1 pitch by Imai, Donnie, little dribbler, throw to first. And that is 1 away. Down goes Donnie with the little slow dribbler towards first base. Next up, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Top of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Astros. First pitch, low and at the knees. Slider, 84 miles an hour to Julio by Imai, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss. Slider, 85 miles an hour right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. 1-1 pitch from Imai to Julio. And a little blooper into right field and just foul, maybe by about a foot or two. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. And depending on how, long this struggling period for Cal remains, we may need to consider putting him on the IL. I mean, obviously, I think we can still win games without him. Obviously, you don't really feel that comfortable with a guy like a Mitch Garver or necessarily a Johnny Pareda, but if there was a time that we could afford to potentially put Cal on the IL for a week or two, it would be right now, before we get obviously closer to summer. But hopefully he'll be able to fight through it. But I do think the injury is still hindering him, and hopefully he'll be able to bounce back. 2-2 pitch, low and away. Slider, 87 miles an hour there by Imai. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. 3-2 pitch, right down the middle, and that is strike 3. Down goes Julio, and that is 2 away. Next up is first baseman Josh Naylor. Tatsuya Imai on the mound, Josh Naylor in the box. And I do like the idea that they slid Cal down, into the 4 hole. They probably should slide him down into the 5 hole until he's right. But again, it is what it is. And, we'll see. Hopefully that the streak will break and he'll be able to get a hit, single, double, or a home run. He's been able to, force a walk here and there, but, hasn't had a hit since April. And again, the last hit he did have was a home run, but again, the injury, definitely not ideal timing. He definitely was overworked last season, and, hopefully he'll be able to get going. We need him. 0-1 pitch to Naylor. Fouls that one off into left field. Out of play. Slider, 87 miles an hour there by Imai. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Astros. We got Brian Wu on the mound. We got our hefty, strong lefty lineup today. So obviously we feel very good about that. Even though that Ref Snyder and Connor Joe have done pretty good when they've come in later in games rather than maybe start games when we have a left-handed pitcher. 0-2 pitch fouled off there by Naylor. Slider, 88 miles an hour there by Imai. Last time that we saw him, we roughed him up early, put up a lot of runs on him, and had him exit within the first couple innings. But I'm not sure if we're going to get that version of Imai here today, here in Houston. Awataki in the building. 0-2 pitch from Imai to Naylor. Good eye, high and away. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour to Josh Naylor. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Astros. Magic number will be 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits, and hopefully Wu gives up less than 3 runs, preferably 0 to 2. And based on what he did on his last start, hopefully that will be possible. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees, four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour there by Imai. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. And a line drive right back to Imai. Recovers the ball, throws it to first to Christian Walker, and that is out number 3. 3 up and 3 down there for the Mariners. A good inning for Imai, a much better version of Imai than when we saw first time around when we played him. And let's go to the bottom of the first inning and see who's up next here for the Astros. Leading off for the Astros at second base, Jose Altuve. Batting second, DHing for Houston, Yordan Alvarez. And batting third baseman, Isaac Paredes. On the mound for the Mariners, 2-2 record, ERA of 4.02. He ends up having a solid start here today. That'll be under 4, absolutely. It's our guy, Brian Wu. And we got Bryce Miller making his 2026 MLB debut tomorrow. And again, I'm a little superstitious, sometimes with some of the pitchers on the thumbs, but I figured this would be a good time to start implementing some of those guys. And hopefully we'll be able to get the W here tonight. Trident's up. Let's go M's. 83 subs away from 24,100. Shout out to our female viewership as well as everyone watching all over the globe, United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. We're at 24 likes so far, 76 to hit our first goal. First pitch in there to Wu, to Jose Altuve, in there for a strike, 0-1 count. Oh, 0-1 pitch, a little slow dribbler. JP, throw to first, and not in time. Jose Altuve with a nice base knock there towards third base, and he is safe. Next up is Yordan Alvarez. I don't think anybody really truly knows, you're Cal Raleigh himself, but if I had to put money on it, it definitely is a combination of physical and mental, and again, if you end up having an issue, with, right side soreness with your hip and your legs, you can't really follow through, on your power swings. So obviously the timing is off, but also I don't think he's able to really give it everything that he needs to. Some of the swings are a little premature and, we'll see where it goes, but I don't think anyone really fully knows, but again, hopefully he'll end up getting right no matter what the situation. 0-1 pitch. Outside there for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike from Wu to Yordan Alvarez. Change up 89 miles an hour, missing there by maybe an inch. 1 ball and 1 strike to Yordan Alvarez. 1-1 pitch to Alvarez. Low and away, but just gets the corner of the strike zone there. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Yordan Alvarez. Power code in the building. What's good? Yeah, I like our chances of winning today. I mean, we have won 8 in a row going back to last season. all 5 matchups so far this year. We got Bryan Woo on the mound, who pitched well in his last start, and we have a heavy lefty lineup, our strong lineup. So, again, could we lose? Of course, anybody can, but, I assume that we'll have a very good chance of winning here today. And then, obviously, the next 2 games, we'll see. Bryce Miller and Luis Castillo for those. We have probably a better chance losing in those games than here. But, again, anything can happen, But hopefully we can get to our numbers, 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. Woo gives up less than 3, preferably 2, 1, or 0. And if that ends up happening, we should have a good chance of being victorious here today. 1-2 pitch. And a good challenge there by Cal Raleigh. And down goes Alvarez. And that is 1 away. Good challenge there by Cal Raleigh. Next up in the 3-hole, third baseman had a good game yesterday. Isaac Paredes. First pitch popped up and out of play. 0-1 count. One pitch in there for another strike. Woo looking good here and sharp early. No balls and 2 strikes from Woo to Paredes. And again, we know Woo had a couple of those starts where he gave up 7 runs to the Cardinals, even though we came back and won 11-9, and then 6 runs against the Royals and ended up taking the L there. But the last start looked very good, and hopefully he can end up feeding off that with some good momentum here tonight. 0-2 pitch, hard hit ball towards third base and foul. Sweeper, 84 miles an hour there by Woo. No balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first. Altuve with 1 out. See if we can get a slow dribbler up the middle for a double play. Typically don't get too many double plays early, but we did get one yesterday in the first inning. So, we've proven that we can get double plays in any inning this year. 0-2 pitch, hard hit ball towards third base and foul. No balls and 2 strikes from Woo to Paredes. One out and 1 on. 0-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. And another punch out there for Bryan Woo. I like it, baby. Way to bring the electricity early, Bryan Woo. Nice job. Trident's up. Next up in the 4-hole, first baseman Christian Walker. And we don't necessarily need Woo, to throw up 8 to 10 Ks. Now, obviously, that would be great if he can get to that number. But even if he gets 4 to 7, that should still be enough with some good defense behind them. But you never know. Maybe this will be one of those games where he ends up getting 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Ks. That would be great. Bottom of the first inning, runner at first with 2 outs. Altuve at first. 0-1 pitch to Walker. Big swing and a miss. Woo is in the zone. No balls and 2 strikes to Christian Walker. (0-2 pitch from Woo to Walker. Low and away. Tried to bait him there. Did not bite. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Woo to Walker. Bottom of the first inning, runner at first. Altuve with 2 outs, 0-0 here early. We're on an 8-game win streak against the Astros going back to last season. We've won all 5 matchups here in 2026. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Walker, and another punch out there for Bryan Woo. And you couldn't have scripted, a better first inning. Bryan Woo getting a few Ks right out of the gate. It gave up one hit. And again, anytime you can end up, getting a few Ks to kind of get your day going, that's exactly what we want to see. Nice job, Brian Wu. And he's got his ERA below 4 now. And hopefully we can get that into the 2s sooner than later. Nice job, Brian Wu. Let's see who's up next here for the Mariners as we go to the top of the 2nd inning. Next up for the Mariners in the 4-hole, catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. 0 for 36, the longest stretch he's gone in his career in college or in the pros without a hit. And again, hopefully that streak will end here today. Next up in the 5-hole, left fielder, Randy Orosarena. And batting third in the 6-hole, right fielder, Luke Raley. And on the mound for the Astros, 1-0 record, ERA of 7.27, Tatsuya Imai. First time that we faced him, we put up quite a few runs on him, I believe 5+, and then we ended up having him exit within the first couple innings. And again, hopefully that will be something similar here today, but so far clean in the first inning. 83 subs to go to 24,100. Let's see where we're at on the likes here as we approach the top of the 2nd inning. All right, we're at 32. All right, we're at 32 likes, 68 to 100. First pitch from Imai to Cal, low and away, 1-0 count. 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour there by Imai. And I don't even really care if it's a home run. I mean, obviously that would be a great exclamation point from Cal, and also getting an opportunity to be able to hit from both sides in a game could end up increasing his chances. We know he's a better hitter from the left side typically than the right, but he ended up having a monster career year, from the right side to kind of bring that batting average up and those home runs and hits and RBIs up. And again, hitting from one side for a long period of time, obviously might end up getting to him a little bit, and maybe we'll end up having him bat from the left and the right before this one is over. 1-1 pitch, just inside there to the big dumper. 2 balls and 1 strike to Cal Raleigh. But even at this point, I'll take a single, just something positive to get off the schneid. 2-1 pitch from Imai to Cal. Good eye, high and away. He's being patient in the box, which is nice to see. 3 balls and 1 strike to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Come on, Cal. Top of the 2nd inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Astros. 3-1 pitch from Imai to Cal, and good patience there, And again, we want him to be able to get hits, but again, I'd rather have him get walked than him foolishly swing for the moon every time and end up popping up or grounding out or striking out over and over and over again. So nice job there by Cal. It wasn't necessarily the hit that we were looking for, but a walk is essentially a single. And again, we'll see if we can get Cal in scoring position here before this inning ends. Next up in the 5-hole, left fielder Randy Orosarena. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Imai on the mound, Randy in the box. First pitch takes a strike looking right down the middle. 0-1 count. 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Imai. 0-1 pitch, low and away. Slider, 89 miles an hour, missing by Imai. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Orosarena. One pitch to Randy. Big swing and a miss. High and inside. Tried to jam him and did. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour there by Tatsuya Imai. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Orosarena. Come on, Randy. 1-2 pitch from Imai. Randy pops it up and out of play. Foul ball, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour there by Tatsuya Imai. High and inside, tried to jam him again. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first, Cal Raleigh, who forced a walk on Imai. 1-2 pitch to Randy. Low and away. Good patience there by Randy by not swinging at that garbage. Slider, 87 miles an hour, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Imai to Orosarena. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. See if we can get a rally going early in this game. 2-2 pitch. Deep fly ball. Back. Gone! Look at that. Randy Orosarena crushes that baseball on Tatsuya Imai, and he's thinking, man, this might be just like the start that I had when I played the Mariners the first time around. Great job there by Randy Orosarena. 369 feet there in left field. 2-0 Mariners. That's my boy. Trident's up, baby. And that was a no-doubter as soon as you heard it. Bat to baseball contact. Let's go, baby. Trident's up. Next up is Luke Raley. Woo on the mound, and again with a strong lefty lineup. There we go. I like it, baby. Randy playing the Trident like a guitar, just like last time when he homered. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, high and away. Rayleigh is challenging, Astros are challenging, and they're going to lose. Or are they? Call is confirmed. 2 balls and no strikes to Luke Rayleigh. Yeah, Randy's looked really good this year. I mean, he's been a little overshadowed by, a few of the other players in the lineup. But as far as consistency, he's been one of the most consistent hitters, if not the most consistent hitter, from the very beginning of the season. He's been really solid, and again, the only really, downside to his game is fielding ground balls and then the throws, into the infield after. But other than that, it seems like the hustle aspect has been a little bit better, running the bags, running to first, and, even playing defense in left field. 2-1 pitch, hard hit ball by Luke Rayleigh, and it bloops right in front of the right fielder. And nice job there by Luke. We got a nice thing going here. A nice blooper right in front of Cam Smith. Nice job, Luke Rayleigh. And on that 1-2 pitch, beautiful single to right. Nice job, Luke. Next up is J.P. Crawford. And again, if we can get as many runs early and often, we ended up roughing up Imai, first time around, and he exited after only a couple innings pitched. And, we dominated that series. If you remember, we won all 4 games at home. And that's really when the season started to turn around for the Mariners, where we actually started hitting against this poor pitching team that has a lot of injuries. 0-1 pitch from Imai to JP. Low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike from Imai to Crawford. And again, these first 2 games, definitely feel, that there was a very good chance to win. And obviously we got the dub yesterday with Wu on the mound. We feel confident based on his last start. He played very well. 1-1 pitch to Imai. JP, little line drive into left is caught, and that is 1 away. But again, we got the Padres next. So we know that typically is a very tough series. And we got Bryce Miller making his debut tomorrow, and then Luis Castillo. So, hopefully, Bryce will play well, but no one really knows, how clean he'll be. So, next up is Dominic Canzone. First pitch to Dom is high and away, 1-0 count. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour there by Tatsuya Imai. Yeah, kind of surprised we only put up 3 yesterday and we didn't really get a whole lot later in the game. But, if you go back and remember a lot of those games that we played against the Astros prior, I mean, we were putting up monster numbers, usually 6 to 9 runs, somewhere in that general range. So 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike to Dominic Canzone. 1-1 pitch from Imai. Big swing and a miss there by Dom. Slider, 87 miles an hour, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Top of the second inning, 2-0 Mariners. 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Canzone. And that is 2 away. Next up in the 9-hole, second baseman Cole Young. First pitch into Cole Young, low and at the knees, but in the zone, 0-1 count. Cole Clutch Young, making plays on offense and defense. Come on, Cole. 0-1 pitch from Imai. Little dribbler towards first. Right to Christian Walker, toe tap on the bag, and that is out number 3. But not after. We end up getting a big 2-run blast by Randy Rosarena, and we have a nice 2-0 lead. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Astros as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Next up for the Astros in the 5-hole, right fielder Cam Smith. Batting second in the 6-hole, left fielder Zach DeZenzo. And batting third in the 7-hole, shortstop Braden Shoemake. And on the mound for the Mariners, with a 2-2 record, ERA of 4.02 coming into the game, already has 3 Ks, Brian Wu. $83 subs to go to 24,100. We gained a sub since the last commercial break. Appreciate you. 82 subs to go to 24,100. All right, we're at 46 likes, 54 to 100. Nice job by Wu so far, giving up a hit to Altuve, but getting 3 Ks after. And Randy being our early hero here in game number 2. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. First pitch to Cam Smith from Wu, low and away, 1-0 count. And I'm very excited to be able to see what Bryce Miller does tomorrow. And we'll see what happens, obviously, on Thursday when Castillo is on the mound. Hopefully after that start, they'll transition him into the pen, but we may have to see a couple more starts. Sounds like they're going to do a 6-man rotation for a week or two, and then they'll make a decision if they put Castillo in the pen, which would be the smart decision, and hopefully they're, smart enough to realize it. 1-0 pitch fouled off. Sinker, 94 miles an hour there by Wu. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cam Smith. Appreciate you. One pitch from Wu to Smith. And just a little blooper. JP is there. Sidearm throw to Naylor on point. Toe tap on the bag, and that is 1 away. Next up in the 6th hole, left fielder Zach DeZenzo on deck. 7-hole hitter, shortstop Braden Shoemake. Great record against the Astros, 5-0, but 2-4 against the Rangers and 1-2 against the A's and the Angels. So, lay down. Lay down. Paisley's going back and forth watching the game here as well. First pitch is fouled off there by DeZenzo, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, another strike right down the middle. Wu is definitely wheeling and dealing here early. I like what I see. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Shout out to our female viewership in the United States and Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. All our new subs and all our OGs as well. A nice blooper there into right field all the way back to the wall. And Zach DeZenzo getting a stand-up double to right field off the wall towards Luke Raley. And hopefully we'll be able to keep him there and he won't come home. Nice hit there for Zach DeZenzo, who ended up coming in later in the game yesterday to pinch hit. Got a chance to start and is making the most of his opportunity. Next up in the 7-hole, shortstop Braden Shoemake. And again, I don't think we care if Wu gives up a couple hits here and there, just like anybody else, but just, you know, the big RBIs, the big home runs, and hopefully we'll be able to get a double play or, you know, a couple quick outs here for Brian Wu. First pitch to Shoemake, low and away, four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Trident's up, let's go M's, 1-0 pitch, hard hit ball. And it's in the gap again, right in front of Julio, and that is going to bring DeZenzo home. And just like that, back-to-back hits turn into a 2-1 Mariner lead. And again, this is kind of typical for us, right? Anytime we end up doing something good, we usually can't hang on to the lead for whatever reason. You know, usually the other team, whoever we play, you know, ends up getting a minimum of one, but sometimes getting more than one run to match kind of what we did or to even get more than what we did. So hopefully that'll be the only run that they score here, but nice back-to-back hits there by DeZenzo and Shoemake, the 6-hole and 7-hole hitter. And hopefully Wu can settle down and settle in. We don't want him to get back to where he was against the Cardinals and the Royals. We want him to look like he did in his last start where he was dominant. Next up is center fielder Bryce Matthews. And now we need a double play. I mean, we're done playing around. We got the Randy 2-run blast. We just gave up a big RBI there to Shoemake. Let's see if we can get a slow dribbler up the middle by Bryce Matthews, Cole Young, JP Crawford, Josh Naylor, and we can get out of this inning only with a little bit of damage against us. Bottom of the second, 2-1 Mariners. Runner at first with one out. Wu on the mound, Bryce Matthews in the box. First pitch is fouled off into right field, out of play. Sinker 94 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch from Wu. Little dribbler towards third and foul. Sinker 95 miles an hour there by Wu. Bottom of the second inning, 2-1 Mariners. Runner at first with one out. Wu on the mound, Bryce Matthews in the box. It would be nice to be able to, hang on to a lead for a few innings, before we give up a run. But, this has been kind of a typical thing for the Mariners in 2026 for whatever reason. 0-2 pitch from Wu. Popped up. Shallow left field. Randy is there. Nice catch. Almost missed it there. And that is 2 away. Nice adjustment at the very last second as Randy has a big smile. Almost underplayed that baseball, but got his hand up and the glove in the right spot to make that catch. Kind of moved at the very last second there. And that is 2 away. Down goes Bryce Matthews. The last thing that we need is Randy to hit a home run and then have an error on a pop-up. We know we can trust you, obviously with, pop-ups, but normally not with ground balls. And Wu getting some of that mud off his shoe there. Next up in the 9-hole, catcher Christian Vasquez. Let's go, Wu. Mike in the building. Whale in the building. What's good? Dave in the building. What's good? Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Throw to first, and he is safe. Bottom of the second inning, 2-1 Mariners. First pitch, low and away. Looks like that was close on the corner there, but no challenge. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch in there for a strike. I mean, if we're talking about, consistency this season, it's been Kirby. He's been the most consistent. Obviously when Wu is on, he's got probably, the most electric stuff with Kirby, but again, Wu is, had a few starts where he was shaky. He had a few starts where he didn't get run support. And then he had a few really bad starts, giving up 7 and 6, to the Cardinals and the Royals. Kirby has been pretty clean, all the way through. So I think right now Kirby's stuff is the best based off his record and his ERA. But again, Hancock and Wu are, have been good. They've had a couple of mess ups, and for Hancock, it's usually been, the defense, as well as not being able to put up enough runs. Like when he got his 14K game and we weren't able to get the job done. Same thing with Logan Gilbert, had a 9K game and we couldn't get the win for him either. So, the pitchers have, done a pretty good job besides Castillo, and obviously Mooney in the bullpen. They've struggled. Little slow dribbler. JP is there. Flip to Cole Young for fielder's choice, and that is out number 3. But again, when Wu is on, like we saw in the last start, he's got some really, really electric stuff. I feel like, the way that the Wu pitches, he pitches, as a guy that he's going to have high-end velocity, and, he's going to go after the hitters. With George Kirby, he kind of, pitches like Greg Maddux. It's usually a little bit more of not top-end speed all the time. Sometimes it's about location, and, making sure that he ends up, getting his spots. And, again, it's nice to be able to have a little bit of a different style out of these pitchers, and with Logan Gilbert, usually he's going to be kind of a flamethrower like Wu and Castillo, even though we know Gilbert and Castillo sometimes don't hit their spots. Kirby is a little bit more reserved, even though he can pitch just as fast as those other guys. He can still pitch 95 to 97, but a lot of times will slow down a little bit and hit his spots like a Greg Maddux used to. You don't need to throw your arm out just to get those Ks. And again, really the only person that we need to worry about is Castillo. Miller will be back tomorrow. And again, so far so good here out of Brian Wu. And and Hancock obviously was terrible for the first couple years. We had him as a first-round pick from Georgia, and he finally took advantage of an opportunity with the Bryce Miller injury and has shown, that he can be as good as Wu or Kirby early in the season. And, him and Gilbert kind of flip-flopped, based on how they were doing last season and beyond. So we'll see how it goes. But again, if we could have had a little bit more run support for Hancock, he could have had a similar record to Kirby, or maybe even the best record, on the team. But again, we have let him down a little bit defensively and hitting wise. But great to see Hancock, take his game to a level where we actually are confident when he's on the mound more times than not, than thinking, oh God, another Luis Castillo type of player where he's going to give up 5 runs or more. And good to see Emerson make that improvement. Next up here in the top of the 3rd inning, Brendan Donovan. On deck is Julio Rodriguez, and batting 3rd, Josh Naylor. They got Valley and Buhner in the booth there with Golding. And I love Bones. I love Jay Buhner, right? And obviously we know sometimes Buhner and Valley will kind of go on and on, and we need Goldie to call the game and whatnot. But, again, nice to be able to have those guys in there. 1-0 pitch. Fouled out of play. And I don't know. I don't really mind, Bones rattling off because we just don't really get to see him that often. But Valley definitely should know better. If he's already in the booth, with, one of the regulars, with Goldie, he knows he needs to know when to kind of settle in and settle down. And a nice base knock in front of center field instead of Bryce Matthews. And nice job there by Donnie. And he struggled as well. After his injury, he hasn't had too many hits. And again, nice job there by Donnie getting on base. Hopefully that'll rub off on Cal Raleigh. Nice bloop single to center by Brandon Donovan. Next up, having a fantastic first half to his career ever, Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. Had a home run yesterday. Would be great if we can get another one here today. First pitch right down the middle to Julio. 0-1 count. It took him 5 years to figure it out. And he even had a really bad stretch of the first 10 games with Cal and Naylor. But Naylor and Julio have turned their seasons around. Cal, not yet. 0-1 pitch from Imai to Julio. Little dribbler up the middle. Toe tap on the bag. Throw to first. And a big double play. Was hoping that Julio would get that past Shoemake and company there for Houston. But a good double play there for H-Town. And that is 2 away. Next up in the 3-hole, it's Nails, first baseman Josh Naylor. First pitch to Naylor, big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, high and inside. Tatsuya Imai on the mound, Josh Naylor in the box. 0-1 pitch, hard hit ball, deep left field, fading foul. No balls and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. Back-to-back four-seam fastballs, 95 miles an hour by Tatsuya Imai. Oh-2 pitch, low and at the knees. Good eye there by Naylor. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Imai to Naylor. Xavier in the building. What's good? One-two pitch. Hard hit ball into right field. Here we go. Nice little blooper into the right field in front of Cam Smith, and a beautiful single there by Josh Naylor. Next up, with a walk with his first appearance today, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Come on, Cal. Coming into the game, 0-36. Last time he got a hit was a home run in April. And again, has had an injury in between that as well. It feels like it's a physical and a mental thing. Timing is off. And obviously, if you have right side soreness, it's going to be difficult to be able to have a really good follow through swing. And again, hopefully he'll be able to, find the right rhythm. And if not, then maybe we need to send him to the IL, for, 10 days and see if he can, get a little bit healthier. If we were to send him down, this would be the time to do it, not later in the year when the weather gets warmer and we're going to need him. 0-1 pitch after Naylor steals that bag. Big swing and a miss. Four-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour there by Imai. No balls and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Oh-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And hopefully we'll end up getting a pitcher, at some point, maybe a lefty, later in the game, even though we struggle with lefties. And if Cal can bat from the right side, that might be the time where he ends up getting a hit if he doesn't get one here. 1-2 pitch from Imai. Big swing and a miss. Gets fooled there. Pitch low and into the dirt. And again, just based on watching his at-bats, I think his right-handed at-bats are a little bit better than the left, and again, obviously the timing is off and, he's in his own head, and obviously he knows that he's, 0-36, even though he ended up having that walk. But, I think that a majority of the outs, and the bad swings have been from the left side. So I'm thinking, if we can get a few more, opportunities from the right side, and a lot of the times when he bats from the right, he might not have gotten a hit yet, but he has been crushing a lot of those baseballs, into home run foul territory, so to speak. So, we'll see. But again, no hit there for Cal. And let's go to the bottom of the third inning and see who's up next here for the Astros. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Astros in the bottom of the third, 1-for-1, second baseman Jose Altuve. Batting second, DHing, power hitter for Houston, Yordan Alvarez. And batting third, 0-for-1 with a K, third baseman Isak Paredes. On the mound for the Mariners, wheeling and dealing, Brian Wu. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Gained another sub since the last commercial break. Appreciate you. 81 subs to go to 24,100. All right, we're at 58 likes, 42 to 100, and we're still waiting for our first dono on our dono train. Wu on the mound, Altuve in the box, just like our thumbnail. And a hard hit ball there by Altuve. And just foul. He can really pull a baseball. And obviously we know with all of the allegations of cheating from back in the day and whatnot. But obviously with no Jeremy Pena and no Carlos Correa, they really have to lean on Altuve and Yordan Alvarez a lot more. And, they have a lot of pitchers injured on top of that as well. Hader, their closer. So, again, it definitely has been probably the roughest stretch for Houston in quite some time. Big swing and a miss. Pitch high and inside. Beautiful pitch there by Wu. No balls and 2 strikes to Jose Altuve. Yeah, we mentioned that, Xavier, early in the broadcast, that I'm thinking that 0-2 pitch, high and inside. I think I would send him to the IL for, 10 days, 15 days, and see if we can give him a week or 2 of rest and see if he comes back then, that if that helps. Obviously getting reps is great, but again, if he's not right mentally or physically, and he definitely got overworked, last season, and then obviously going into the WBC, a lot of guys have struggled with that, and he's had an injury. So it's, kind of a lot of things are going against him right now. And usually the one thing that, doesn't affect him is the mental side. Usually he's good there. And again, your, lowest moment, we've had 2 guys, being in the bottom 2 and hitting this season already. Josh Naylor was bottom 2, but then has been one of the hottest hitters since April 19th. So he turned his season around, but now we got Cal as one of the worst hitting players in baseball. And again, maybe sending him to the IL now, even though I know he wants to be out there. And it is a little scary to think to have Garver and, Pareda out there for 2 weeks. But, if there was a time that we could actually afford, to send Cal down, it would probably be now, and then hopefully as the weather warms up and we get past the All-Star break, he'll be able to get going. And, it's not like we expect him to hit 40, 50, 60 home runs, but he's at 7 and he could still end up getting to 25 or 30 before the year is over. But again, definitely dealing some, some physical and mental challenges, it feels like. 2-2 pitch. High and away. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour there by Wu. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jose Altuve. I mean, I don't think I've seen a catcher do as much as what he did. And remember, he played in the All-Star game. He was in the home run derby. He won the home run derby. So it's like, going through everything, not really missing games and squatting all the time, throwing guys out, also having to hit all those home runs and be a leader to all the pitchers, be our second manager on the field, and doing the All-Star game, doing the home run derby, the WBC. I think he just, got to a point where he was just doing, too many things, and the body finally broke down. And, I think at this point we got to give him some rest, even though we desperately need him, behind the plate. And that goes out of play. First pitch to Alvarez, fouled off. Slider 85 miles an hour, 0-1 count. If there was a year that we could end up having Yordan Alvarez and Aaron Judge, and I would really love to see Shohei and Aaron Judge and Yordan Alvarez in the home run derby, as well as a few other guys, but at least we have a better chance of seeing the best hitters compete in that particular tournament rather than like in the NBA All-Star game where we have a lot of scrubs dunking. It's not like it's Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler like it used to be back in the day, or even having guys that we know that can get the job done like Vince Carter and whatnot. So, but as far as home run derby, usually you'll get some pretty big names. But do we actually get the best home run hitters in the home run derby every year? No, but usually a couple of them. 1-1 pitch, high and away, four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Wu. 2 balls and 1 strike to Yordan Alvarez. But I would love, even us being Mariner fans, and obviously we know Dave, Mariner fans don't like Astro fans, and Astro fans don't like Mariner fans, and we don't like really each other, for the most part, fan base wise, right? But Yordan Alvarez being in the home run derby, especially the season he's having this year, would be awesome to see. Munetaka Murakami, being in the home run derby with Judge, with Yordan. And it's not like they're going to have Shohei do it, but it would be cool to see Shohei do it. But considering he hits and he pitches and they're worried about, obviously his overall health, I don't know if we'll ever see Shohei Ohtani in a home run derby, but I would love to be able to see it, before him and Judge get too old, where we can actually have them put on a show potentially. And another walk there. Runners at first and second now with no outs in the bottom of the third, and we have to be very careful here. First pitch fouled off behind the plate, 0-1 count. Sweeper 85 miles an hour there by Wu. And we're definitely going to need a strikeout and a double play, or a double play and a strikeout. You don't want to get, in a jam like this too often, regardless on who's on the mound for us. Definitely need a double play here if possible. 0-1 pitch, hard hit ball, and out of play. But again, if I could, have 3 guys, in this year, definitely Munetaka Murakami, the rookie for the White Sox, Aaron Judge, and Yordan Alvarez. Those would be my first 3 choices. As far as joy, being able to, enjoy, home run hitters do what they do best. Smash at the home run derby on the All-Star game. No balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Isaac Paredes. Bottom of the third, runners at first and second with no outs. And again, we haven't really hit a lot of guys this year, more of the bullpen hitting guys rather than our starters. But we have been walking, a few batters a little bit more than we would like lately. Popped up on the 0-2 pitch. And who's going to get it? And Julio finally calls off Rayleigh. And that is 1 away. Nice job by Julio Rodriguez with good communication there with the other teammates, and that is 1 away. Next up, 0 for 1 with a K, first baseman Christian Walker. Schwarber and Olsen. Yeah, Olsen's having a fantastic year as well, and we just saw him with the Braves. And Schwarber is always a beast, right? I mean, no matter, what the venue, the guy has just been absolutely phenomenal, for Philadelphia in the last few years. Yeah, that would be a great combo there. I agree. Hard hit ball towards third. Gets past Brendan Donovan. It rolls to Randy, and that's not a good sign. Get it, Randy. Hurry. Where is the ball? Come on. And finally, an infield throw to JP, but not after how many runs come home. And now the game is tied, 2-2 with runners at second and third. And after having an electric start from Wu in his last outing, Astros finding a little bit of rhythm here on Woo. Walker doubled to left. Altuve scored. And now the game is tied. We can't let them score anymore. For 14 and then finally got an RBI, huh? And again, overall, I think we've liked what we've seen from Hancock and Woo. Gilbert struggled in his first 2 starts, but he's getting there. Castillo's been fucking terrible, and luckily we have Kirby pitching like an all-star this year. So, maybe Kirby, Julio, and Cole Young for all-star spots, at least at this point. But they still got a little ways to go, consistency-wise and whatnot. But hopefully we can get Hancock and Woo on the Kirby level. But 1-1 pitch from Woo to Cam Smith. Popped up and out of play. And we definitely need to keep these runners at second and third to keep this game tied up if possible. Bottom of the 3rd inning, knotted up at 2. Runners at second and third with 1 out. One-two pitch. Little chopper behind the plate and foul. And again, if you're a fan of baseball, a fanatic, and you watch more than just the Mariners or your favorite team in the room, or Houston Dave, obviously it's the Astros. But again, this is probably the best rookie class that we've seen in baseball in many, many, many years. I mean, there is a lot of talent doing a lot of big things, and again, the top 10 rookies this year are insane, top to bottom. You got a couple of players from Japan, one on the Blue Jays, one on the White Sox in that top 10, and quite a few others. Big swing and a miss. And down goes Cam Smith, and that is 2 away. Huge. Nice job there by Brian Woo. Down goes Cam Smith, who's had a little bit of a struggle in the box, but is a good defender in right field. Next up, 1-for-1 with a run, who got the rally going for them early in the game, Zach DeZenzo. And we have a mound visit here by Cal, which is, I think, a good thing since DeZenzo got a hit on him in his first at-bat. Got to try to keep this at 2-2, because if DeZenzo gets a hit, it easily could be 3-2 or 4-2 in a matter of seconds. Let's go, Woo. We got an 8-game winning streak against the Astros going back to last year, winning the last 3, and we are 5-0 this year on Houston. But again, it definitely feels like it's going to be a battle and a war these next 3 games. We got Woo on the mound, and again, hopefully the bats will do their job. And then we don't really know what to expect with Bryce Miller tomorrow. Hopefully it ends up being good things. And then with Luis Castillo on the mound on Thursday, almost every time he's on the mound, that's an L, because we usually have a left-handed pitcher that he goes against, and we have a kind of poor righty lineup with no Luke Raley, no Dominic Canzone, and you got Ref Snyder and Joe starting. It usually doesn't work out. I think 5 out of the 8 starts with Castillo, we've put up 2 runs or less, and that's hard to win games when you do that. Have a bad pitcher, a bad hitting lineup, and then you can't really trust the bullpen or the closer, and you have injuries. But who knows? We'll see what happens. But hopefully we can win here today and tomorrow, and winning 3 out of 4 would be great. But if we could find a way to win with Castillo and get the sweep, aka mop, that would be great, because we got the Padres at home next. First pitch, takes a strike, looking right down the middle. Beautiful sweeper, 84 miles an hour, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, little foul ball, blooper into third base, and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. Zach DeZenzo. Let's see if we can get a punch out here for Brian Woo. Runners at second and third with 2 outs. Come on, Brian. Come on, Woo. Bottom of the 3rd inning, runners at second and third with 2 outs. Yes, 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. That was a great call by Cal. And again, getting him to chase low and away. And I know Woo is frustrated, that the game is tied 2-2, but we have to be happy, because considering we've seen, Woo go sideways, we've definitely seen, Woo, look good like his last start. But we've also seen him look terrible and give up 7 runs and 6 runs and have things fall apart in front of our very eyes. And that could have ended up being a really bad inning where they could have put up 2, 3, 4, runs, and we could easily be down 3-2 or 4-2 right now. And the Astros are still hitting. And great job there by Wu getting that punch out. And again, he's got 5 punch outs already, pacing for 10, and again, his ERA is back up above 4, 56 pitches, 41 strikes. He's already given up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. He's got 2 walks, which is a little unusual, but again, we just got to find a way to score 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. Right now we're both tied up, 2 runs, 4 hits apiece with no errors. So we're halfway there, and hopefully we'll be able to get some more run support besides the next batter, Randy Arozarena, who's the hero so far for us. 1 for 1 with a run with 2 RBIs, a big 2-run blast. Randy Arozarena is up next. Let's see if Randy can do it again. Batting second in the 6th hole, right fielder, 1 for 1, Luke Raley. And batting third in the 7th hole, 0 for 1, shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Right hand sub, let's go M's. 81 subs to go to 24,100. Gained another sub here moments ago. Appreciate you. And now we are only 80 away from 24,100. Appreciate you. We're at 71 on the likes, 29 more to hit the goal. I mean, especially going into the year, and the year that he had, besides getting injured at the end of the year, Wu was our best pitcher, last season, and he probably should have been the opening day starter. But again, to be able to, kind of mix and match, so that way we don't get to a point where we have a couple guys in the front, 1 and 2, and then all of a sudden 3, 4, and 5 lose all the time. So sometimes you got to spread out some of that talent, and you have Gilbert starting, and then obviously Kirby, and then Wu, Hancock, and then Castillo. And then now Miller will be in the mix with a 6-man rotation for a couple weeks while they evaluate. 0-2 pitch, and they call strike 3 on Randy. Randy is challenging. We had 2 big swings and misses, high and inside there by Randy. And again, let's see what. And there we go. Randy wins the challenge, and it ends up being a ball just barely. And now it's going to be a 1-ball and 2-strike count rather than 3 pitches, and down goes Randy. And let's see if Randy can battle back after winning that challenge. And let's see if he can get a single or a double here. 1-2 pitch. And did that hit him? And Randy gets hit. And Imai had a tendency of walking guys, hitting guys, and giving up a bunch of runs the first time around. And we have Vasquez, as well as the trainers, looking at Randy, and hopefully he's okay. Looks like they're going to check the hand, and I assume that's where he got hit here on the fingers. And it looks like it got him kind of on the bottom of the palm there, palm or hand area. And that's pretty damn good for, challenging, right? Instead of having it be strike 3, we don't want guys to get hurt, but we know Randy is the ambassador of, getting beamed the most. It used to be Ty France, but now it's Randy. And again, as long as Randy doesn't get hit in the head or in the jaw, or he ends up getting injured, for him to, take a little bit of a damage and abuse from some of these other pitchers, as long as he's okay, sometimes that's what you need. So. Next up is Luke Raley. Naylor was arguing a potential balk call, so they're trying to make sure that the Astros aren't trying to pull any fast ones. Definitely have a reputation of doing that from time to time, as we know. And Randy with the stolen bag. Perfect jump there. And again, nice aggressiveness here by Randy Arozarena, who's quietly putting up a very consistent 2026 season. Julio and Naylor are going to get a lot more love on the daily, than Randy. And again, we obviously get on Randy for some of those non-hustle plays and his ability to not be very on point with ground balls. But overall, other than the ground balls and a little bit of hustle, everything else is pretty damn good for Randy this year. Pitch fouled off behind the plate by Luke Raley. 1 ball and 1 strike from Imai to Raley. Let's see if we can get a nuke out of Luke. And honestly, if Randy, actually took the game a little bit more seriously and actually hustled, like Luke Raley and Julio Rodriguez, he could end up being just like Julio and Cole Young, a great two-way player, where you could actually trust him on every aspect, pop-ups, ground outs, hustle, and again, I'm not sure, if he's just comfortable, thinking that he's bigger than the game and whatnot, but just a little bit more effort out of Randy, and he could be an amazing two-way player like Cole Young and Julio Rodriguez. Pitch fouled off there by Luke. And it's not like Randy doesn't have it in him. Obviously, if you watched him on the Tampa Bay Rays, he was phenomenal, there. And I just would love to see him, push a little bit harder. Throw to second, and Randy is safe. Try to inside. Let's go, M's. One-two pitch from Imai, low and away. Good eye there by Luke Raley. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second and no outs. Top of the 4th inning, 2-2 Mariners and Astros. And Luke Raley, RBI leader at the moment. It used to be Cole Young after 7 RBIs in a single game that got him the lead. Grand salami and a 3-run blast in the same game against the Chicago White Sox. In game number 1, where they wore the Chicago Bull throwbacks, alternate jerseys, like our City Connects. Pretty clean. 2-2 pitch fouled off, out of play. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour there by Imai. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Tatsuya Imai to Luke Raley. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 2-2 pitch, hard hit ball into left field and out of play. Tatsuya Imai, 1-0 record, ERA of 7.27, and the Mariners are a part of that. Ended up exiting after a couple innings after we roughed him up in his first start against us early in the year. And let's see if Luke Raley can give us a little magic here. Randy at second. 2-2 pitch from Imai to Raley. Low and out the knees. Did that hit him? And Luke is taking off his gear as if it did. And now Luke ends up getting hit by a pitch on the foot or leg area. And now we have Raley at first and Randy at second. This could be big. And now the Astros are getting themselves in a little bit of a jam, just like Brian Wu did. And hopefully we'll be able to get at least 1 run scored before this inning ends. But 1 run minimum, but maybe 2, 3, or 4 could happen. Next up is J.P. Crawford, especially if we get that unexpected home run by J.P., Dom, or Cole Young here at the bottom of the order. First pitch into J.P., low and at the knees, 1-0 count. And let's see if J.P. can be patient and just take the walk here. And we'll have bases loaded for Dom, and then we'll have Cole Young. So, come on, J.P. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to J.P. Crawford. Here we go. And if you remember, when how we were the worst hitting team in baseball, batting 188 prior to the Astros series, that was the series that really, it was one of the turning points, this season for sure. 2-0 pitch, another ball, low and at the knees. And then obviously the Cardinal comeback, I think, was another turning point. When we were down 7-0 and we came back and won 11-9, that was another turning point after getting the sweep, aka the mop, 4 games in a row against the Astros earlier. So we've had 2 or 3 turning points, early in the season, which is good. 3-0 pitch, low and away. And look at J.P. Crawford. A lot of guys wouldn't be able to take 4 straight pitches on the Mariners, but J.P. knows that, obviously hitting the first 2 guys, that if he just was patient, that probably would be a walk, and it was. And I appreciate that about J.P. Crawford. He's maybe one out of maybe 2 or 3 guys in the lineup that would have done that. A lot of the other guys would have swung for the fences, even if it was outside of the zone. So, and now we're going to have a mound visit with bases loaded and no outs. And hopefully this is where the game opens up, where we can get to 3, 4, 5, 6 here in the 4th inning. And hopefully we don't get any double plays here out of Canzone or Young, and we can get a nice RBI single by Canzone. And if Canzone can end up working the count, finding that good pitch, and then maybe Cole can go after the first pitch like he did yesterday, and we can kind of have a mirrored result with Canzone and Young getting back-to-back hits here late. And obviously with bases loaded, this would be a great time to kind of give it to Imai. Top of the fourth inning, we're tied up at 2. We need to get those runs back that we just gave up recently. Both teams are at 2 runs and 4 hits. We've given up runs in the second and the third, 1 run each, and we definitely need to make up for that. Let's go, Dom. Dominic Canzone, back. See ya! Grand salami, are you kidding me? Dominic Canzone, he does it, baby. Let's go. Trident's up. Let's go. M6-2 Mariners. And again, it kind of felt like something big was going to happen. And there we go. Dom gets it done. Let's go. Great job there by Dominic Canzone. And again, anytime that we can get a grand salami, we got one with Luke Raley a few games ago, and here is Dominic Canzone coming up big. And we know Dom and Luke are very streaky hitters. They're not going to do that all the time, but great to see those guys have some action here. Next up is Cole Young. 1-0 pitch fouled off towards first base. 1 ball and 1 strike from Imai to Young. And again, we keep on this pace, we're going to hit somewhere between 10 and 12 runs. And that's exactly what we need since we have Bryce Miller on the mound tomorrow. And even though it's going to be his first start of 2026, I feel comfortable with him on the mound. Hard hit ball, deep center field, all the way back to the wall. And Bryce Matthews makes that catch. If, again, that one went over his head, that easily would have been a double for Cole. But that is 1 away. If you're just tuning into the broadcast, when the game was 2-2, Imai ended up hitting, Randy and Luke Raley, and then JP got walked, and then took 4 straight balls, and then Dominic Canzone just unloaded and ended up getting a big grand salami. Great job. Next up is Brandon Donovan, who is 1 for 2 with nobody on and 1 out. But if we can win 3 out of 4, it's going to be hard to win with Castillo on the mound on Thursday. But, if we can get the dub here, get the dub tomorrow with Miller, and we can actually get some run support. And then again, we got a 3-game set at home against the Padres. They swept us in San Diego, so we need payback. And if we can get 2 out of 3 against the Padres, that would be awesome. But we know that's going to be difficult. But we got a better chance to do it at home than on the road. That's for sure. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Imai to Brendan Donovan. One pitch, high and inside. 2-1 pitch, another ball to Brendan Donovan. 3 balls and 1 strike from Imai to Donnie. 3-1 pitch, high and away, just like on pitch number 4. Same thing, and that is going to be a walk for Brendan Donovan. Imai having the meltdown that we knew that he could have. Next up is Julio Rodriguez, and we know Julio went yard yesterday. See if he can do it again here today. And we're on an 8-game win streak against the Astros going back to last year. We've won 5 games in a row against the Astros in 2026. And we're definitely pacing for win number 9 in a row if we can hang on to this victory here up by 4 runs. 0-1 pitch from Imai to Julio. Little dribbler towards third. Double play attempt. And no throw. Fielder's choice. And Julio is safe at first. Down is Donnie at the fielder's choice. And that is 2 away. Next up in the 3-hole, first baseman, it's Josh Naylor. And a great job there by Dominic Canzone. And again, to be able to anticipate, a pitch that he could go off on, considering Imai has hit, Randy and Luke Raley, and then 4 straight balls to JP. That was a calculated risk, and it paid off there for Dom. First pitch gets behind the plate, past the catcher, and Julio will steal second easily. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. If we could just play the Astros all year round, we'd have a great record. But, it's been tough sledding for them with injuries and poor pitching, and again, we definitely have had our moments as well. But, I'd rather be Seattle than be Houston any day. Shows you how important pitching truly is. It's one thing to have hitting woes, but little dribbler, throw to first. And that is out number 3 as Naylor grounds out, but not after the damage is done. And that was a beautiful inning, right? Randy ends up, having strike 3 called, right? He challenges, wins the challenge, and then ends up getting hit the next pitch. So a little bit of luck there and a little bit of good karma. And then Luke Raley takes a couple pitches, and then he gets hit by a pitch. So we got 2 guys hit back-to-back, so the meltdown's in order. Then J.P. Crawford has the patience to take 4 straight balls, and he might be the only player, maybe besides 1 or 2 other guys on the team that would have done that, to recognize the meltdown was there, and he could have potentially got hit again, or just take the walk, don't bail him out, for some cheap, fast double play. And he gets on, with 4 straight balls with no swings whatsoever. Fantastic by J.P. And then you got Randy at third, Luke at second, J.P. at first. And then Dominic Canzone, calculated risk. I'm going to go for the moon, and ends up connecting. And we get a big grand salami, 381 feet to right field. Randy, Raley, Crawford, all on board. And just like that, we go from 2-2 to 6-2. Now, let's not let them, score 4 runs and tie this game up 6-6. It just seems like every time we do something great, the other team responds immediately. But hopefully Wu will be, good here, and we can get a few easy outs. Next up, 1 for 1 with an RBI, shortstop Braden Shoemake. Batting second in the 8-hole, center fielder 0 for 1, Bryce Matthews. And batting third in the 9-hole, catcher 0 for 1, Christian Vasquez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 80 subs away from 24,100. And great to be able to see Luke Raley with a grand salami a few days ago against the White Sox, and Dominic Canzone getting one here today. I love it. I love the lefty bats. All right, we're at 81 likes, 19 to 100. We got 237 in the room, so if we get 19 out of the 237, we'll hit our first goal, and we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. Luke Raley, Cole Young, and Randy Arosarena all hitting 500. Is that good in the last 3 road trips? Road Warriors, baby. All right, hold on. All right, what happened here? Give me 1 sec. See if it came back. Nope. Give me 1 sec here. What is going on here? Now let's see. Okay. I was wondering what happened there. There was an internal error with the program, and then it just took the scoreboard off, so I had to re-implement it there. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Shoemake, and that is one away. Great job there by Brian Wu. That's the 6th punch out there for Brian. Kenneth in the building. What's good? First pitch, big swing and a miss. 0-1 count. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour there by Wu. This is on Mariners TV, but I'm not really sure what it would be if you're watching it on Spectrum, if that's the provider in Texas or in the Houston area, if you're looking for it. But for all the Mariner fans in the building, that's what we're watching it on. And if you don't have access to cable or Mariners TV or anything through the Houston Astros, then obviously you have me here as well. Big swing and a miss again, high and inside. No balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Matthews. 0-2 pitch, fouled off behind the plate. Well, it's not over yet. Remember, we've had meltdowns, right? Power, in the bullpen. Obviously, we feel good, up 6-2. But again, it's not over till things are over. All it takes is one guy in the bullpen to fuck up, and then, we could end up losing the game. We've had a lot of games where Mooney has blown it or someone in the bullpen has blown it, like Bizzardo, So, again, you never know what the score may be, in a few more innings from now. And especially if the Astros can end up getting it to 6-4 or 6-5 with an inning or 2 to left, anything could happen. So now if we keep on adding on, then it'll be really hard for them to come back. But, again, we don't really know how the flow of the game will go, but it's not over yet. If we feel good, but not over yet. 1-2 pitch, hard hit ball, deep right field, and Luke Raley is there, and that is 2 away. It almost went over, the defender's head, but again, they got some pretty good outfielders, making plays out there. Bryce Matthews in center, and obviously they got Cam Smith in right field, and they got DeZenzo playing left. So, and again, if they weren't able to get that ball, Cole would have easily had a double for sure. Next up is Christian Vasquez. Pitch popped up. Raley is there, and that is out number 3. End of the 4th inning, 6-2 Seattle. Let's go to the top of the 5th and see who's up next here for the Mariners. Your number one source for Seattle Mariner coverage for many, many years, from back in the day and beyond. Go to the top of the 5th and see who's up next year for Seattle. Next up for the Mariners, 0-for-1 with a run, base on ball, and a K. Coming into the game with an 0-36, slump in the box. Something's got to give. He had a walk in his first at-bat, but hopefully we'll end up getting Cal to bat from the left side and the right side. And again, I just feel like if he starts batting from the right side, that's when the hit is going to happen. Not to say that he can't do it from the left, but we'll see if they end up bringing in a lefty a little bit later. But hopefully Cal will get the hit here, but it's been tough sledding. Batting second, one of the heroes so far, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And Randy got the party started for us in the top of the 2nd inning with a 2-run blast. Nice job, Randy Arozarena. And batting third in the 6th hole, right fielder Luke Raley. And right now, Luke is 1-for-1 with a run, and let's continue the hot streak. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. And we gained 2 more subs since the last commercial break. 78 subs to go to 24,100. All right, we're at 97 likes. We only need 3 more to hit 100. And this is my 14th year streaming, 10th on YouTube, and I plan on doing this for the rest of my life. I've been fortunate to be full-time for the last 3 or 4 years, and we got some of the best fans all over the globe. Our female viewership is up. Our global viewership is up. United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. And again, appreciate every single one of you that liked, subbed, donated, commented, shared, and have supported us here for your number one source for Seattle Mariner and MLB coverage here on YouTube. Top of the fifth inning, 6-2 Mariners after a grand salami by Dominic Canzone there in the fifth. Or excuse me, in the top of the fourth. Now let's see if Cal can finally get a hit here. And we have Jaden Murray coming in, so Imai is done. Chris with a 10er. Appreciate you getting us started on our Dono train. Chris out of 10. 90 to go. Appreciate you. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Shout out to Chris. First pitch, Cal bunts foul and fouls off the second pitch. And obviously, Cal getting into 0-2 counts is not ideal. And that was just like any other player, for the Mariners that gets into an 0-2 count. It takes a real special player to be able to get out of that jam. Most 0-2 counts typically lead to, strike three, right? Swinging or looking. But let's see if Cal can battle here. Oh, 2 pitch. Cal, hard hit ball, deep right field. And foul. And it just seems like he's been hitting the baseball, whether it be from the right side or the left side, in that same exact spot. He's crushing it, but it's going about, 10 seats foul, to the right. God, just got to find a way to be able to pull that baseball fair. 0-2 pitch. And fouls that one off towards first base. And again, I missed that, crack of the bat from Cal, and a lot of times as soon as you hear it, that more than likely it's gone as long as it stays fair. But a lot of those foul balls that Cal, has crushed on this slump, have gone about 10 rows to the right. 0-2 pitch. And just gets a piece. And it rolls towards third base and foul. No balls and 2 strikes from Murray to big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Come on, Cal. Oh, 2 pitch, hard hit ball, deep center field. Matthews is there all the way back to the warning track. And that is 1 away. Next up is Randy Orosarena. First pitch from Jaden Murray to Randy Orosarena, 0-1 count. Murray on the mound, Randy in the box. Oh, 1 pitch, low and away by Jaden Murray. Sweeper, 82 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. 6-2 Mariner lead. 1-1 pitch, low and away. Takes another strike looking there. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Orosarena. Come on, Randy. 1-2 pitch for Murray. And a hard hit ball by Randy, deep left field. It's fair, off the wall. Go, Randy, go. And Randy with a stand-up double. There we go. Randy has been absolutely phenomenal lately. And we still have issues with him ground balls in left field, but in the box, he has been very, very consistent. Nice job, Randy Orosarena. Next up is Luke Raley. Let's see if we can add on another run or two here in the 5th inning. First pitch fouled off, out of play. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Top of the fifth inning, runner at second with one out. 0-1 pitch from Murray to Luke, and a little check swing. And he goes around. No balls and 2 strikes to Luke Rayleigh. O2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Luke Rayleigh. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 1-2 pitch from Murray to Rayleigh, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Murray to Rayleigh. Come on, Luke. Two-two pitch. Rayleigh pops it up. Deep center field. Matthews is there. Randy tags up from second and is into third base, standing up and safe. Great job moving the runner over there by Luke Rayleigh. Next up is J.P. Crawford. Let's see if J.P. can get an RBI single to make it 7-2 or a home run to make it 8-2. Let's go, J.P. First pitch, right down the middle, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour by Jaden Murray. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. Randy back to third and safe. 1 ball and 1 strike to J.P. Crawford. Top of the fifth inning, runner at third, Randy Arosarena with 2 outs. Mariners up 6-2. 2-run jack by Randy. Grand salami by Dominic Canzone. And that's where we sit right now. 1-1 pitch, high and inside. Good patience there by JP. And we know his defense at times has been a little bit shaky within the last few weeks, but he's definitely one of the most patient hitters, in the box. And see if he can end up finding a way to get to first with a walk or a big base hit, RBI, or home run here. 2-1 pitch, high and away. Hitters count now. Oh, did they call that a strike? Wow, that was way out the zone. Challenge that. No challenge there by JP. Definitely looked way outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Should have been 3 balls and 1 strike. I'm kind of shocked that JP didn't challenge there. 2-2 pitch. And a hard hit ball by JP. And it drops in to left field. And Randy will come home. Big RBI single by JP Crawford. 7-2 Seattle. Great base knock there for J.P. Crawford after not challenging the previous pitch. Next up is Dominic Canzone. 7-2 M's. I love it. First pitch by Dom. Crushes it towards first base and foul. 1 for 2 with a run, 4 RBIs, and a K. Had a grand salami. They're in the 4th inning. Oh, 1 pitch from Murray to Canzone incoming. Fouls that one off, out of play. No balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. TJ in the building, what's good? We're at 10 on the Dono train. Says we're at 105, 95 more likes to be able to get to 200. We've gained a few subs here today as well. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Murray to Canzone. And again, definitely feels like this game is going our way like it did yesterday, but tomorrow and Thursday will be challenging. Bryce Miller making his first start of the year could be a little shaky, but I still think we have a better chance winning with Miller on the mound rather than Castillo on Thursday, but we will see. And a toe tap on first, there by Christian Walker. Down goes Canzone, and that is out number 3, but not after J.P. Crawford gets a big RBI single to bring Randy home from third, and now we have a 5-run lead. And again, I have been a little superstitious on putting, pitchers on the thumbs, and it just seemed like every time I started to do it, we would lose. So I started to kind of fade the pitchers on the thumbs, but hopefully this will give us some good luck, as I have Bryce Miller on the thumb also for tomorrow. Looking good, Woo. Let's see who's up next here as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Next up, 1 for 1 with a run and a base on ball, second baseman Jose Altuve. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a base on ball and a K, DHing Yordan Alvarez. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, third baseman Isaac Paredes. Tridents up, let's go Elms. And a quick just recap for everyone that's just tuning in the top of the second inning. Randy Arozarena ended up getting a big 2-run blast to left, 369 feet with Cal on board with a walk, 2-0 Mariners. And then Braden Shoemake in the bottom of the second, single to center. DeZenzo scored, so that ended up making it 2-1. And then in the bottom of the third, Christian Walker had a big double to left. Altuve scored to make it 2-2. And then Dominic Canzone, after Randy Arozarena got hit by a pitch, and then Luke Raley got hit by a pitch, J.P. Crawford got a 4-pitch walk. Dominic Canzone in the top of the 4th ended up going with a grand salami. Randy, Luke, and J.P. all scored, making it 6-2. And then we just saw J.P. Crawford get a RBI single to left, and Randy ended up scoring from third, and now we are at 7-2. And that's the quick recap here from the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Toward the bottom of the 5th, 7-2 Seattle. $78 subs to go to 24,100. And Woo's looking good. 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Even though he had a little bit of a mini meltdown, that scored a couple, not as bad as a meltdown as Imai. So 1-0 pitch. Held off there by Altuve. Sinker 94 miles an hour, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike from Woo to Altuve. And hopefully we can win 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 4 because we have the Padres at home next. And we got swept by them in San Diego. So hopefully we can win 2 out of 3 versus them. And, if we can continue that, we will be above 500, finally at that point. So, hopefully once we get to that point, since there's only a couple teams, above 500, 2 or 3, Yankees, obviously, and Tampa Bay Rays have been holding off the top 2 spots for quite some time. And everyone else is a game or 2 above 500, a game or 2 below, or right at 500. So American League is definitely up for grabs. And even though our record isn't great right now, we're right where, we need to be, to still end up making the playoffs. And we can still end up winning the division even with this slow start. 2-2 pitch, hard hit ball by Altuve, deep left field, and Randy all the way back to the wall on the scoreboard, and that is 1 away. Thank God. That would have bounced off the wall. That easily would have been a double, maybe even a triple for Altuve. And that is 1 away. No, we've won 8 in a row. So again, we've won the last 3 games last year, and then we won all 4 games at home at the beginning of the year, and then we won game 1 yesterday. So we're on an 8-game winning streak going back from last year against the Astros, and if we win here today, it'll be 9. And then if we win with Bryce Miller on the mound tomorrow, it'll be 10. So I do a lot of reading and a lot of film study before every game. Definitely looking into all those statistics, just like with Cal and what his current slump has been at as well. 0-1 pitch, fouls that one out of play. Sweeper 85 miles an hour from Woo to Alvarez. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the 5th inning, 7-2 Seattle. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Yordan Alvarez. Bryan Woo on the mound. Yordan Alvarez in the box. One-two pitch to Alvarez. Crushes it out of play. Sinker 93 miles an hour off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the 5th inning, 7-2 Seattle. Rebecca in the building. How are you? Seattle in the building. Bash in the building. What's good? 1-2 pitch. Fouled off again here. Out of play. Change up 89 miles an hour there by Bryan Woo. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the 5th inning, 7-2 Seattle. If we just play the Astros every game for the whole year, we'd have an insane record. But definitely want to make sure we can take advantage of this special time where we have the kind of the edge on Houston. Well, they've always been a kind of a thorn in our side. They've had a lot of injuries and a lot of poor pitching, and no matter how bad we thought our season was going, Houston's is going 1,000 times worse. And they don't have their closer Hader. They have no Carlos Correa or Jeremy Pena. They really have to rely on Altuve and Yordan Alvarez for the most part. 1-2 pitch, high and away. With all of the things that they used to do to us, it doesn't hurt my feelings one bit that we're beating them down. We've had a lot of tough losses and a lot of beatdowns, from Houston in years past. So, it's kind of nice karma for things to kind of go around our way now. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Alvarez. And that is not something that many pitchers have been able to do this year. Get a strikeout on Yordan Alvarez, and that is 2 away. Great job there by Bryan Woo. And that is 7 Ks for Bryan Woo. 4.2 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks, 80 pitches, 59 strikes. ERA is 4.03. And hopefully we can get that ERA into the high 2s, in the next few months. And again, he's too good of a pitcher to have an ERA in the 4s or hell, even in the 3s. It should be in the mid to high 2s, and even sometimes maybe even below 2. We know we got a couple guys that have the potential to have an ERA in the high 1s or low 2s. Kirby and Woo, and obviously Hancock has been pretty good this year as well. Gilbert struggled early on, but had a career high 9 Ks, but we couldn't win for him there. Now Hancock had a career high 14 Ks, and we couldn't win for him as well. So the bats have definitely let us down, a few times this year. Same thing with the bullpen, as well as Mooney as a closer. But again, hopefully we get Brash and Spire back sooner than later. And again, we're going to have Miller back tomorrow, making his 2026 MLB debut. And Victor Robles is very soon to come back to the team as well. 3-0 pitch from Woo to Isaac Paredes. 3-0 pitch, low and away, and finally gets the strike call from the ump there. 3 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 5th inning, 7-2 Seattle. Trident's up. Let's go M's. And I love seeing a good version of Woo. Did have a little bit of a mini meltdown, a couple innings ago, but has been able to battle from that. Popped it up. Naylor is there, and nice job there by Naylor. Good communication with Cal. And that is another 1-2-3 inning for the Mariners. 7 runs, 7 hits, no errors. And on top of that, we got how many Ks out of Woo? 7. 7, 7, and 7. It's always lucky, not only in Vegas, but also for the Seattle Mariners. End of the 5th inning, 7-2 Seattle. Let's go. A number of 7s here today. And it looks like the pitcher on the thumb obviously is not holding us back here today. And I'll start to implement more pitchers on thumbs as we progress in the season. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Mariners in the 9-hole in the top of the 6th inning, second baseman 0 for 2, Cole Young. Time to get a hit. Let's go, Cole. Batting second, 1 for 2 with a base on ball, third baseman Brendan Donovan. Really happy that he's back in the lineup and playing defense at third. No offense to Leo Rivas, but he's more of a AAA player. And batting third, 0 for 3 with a K, center fielder, time to go 1 for 4, Julio Rodriguez. And Julio's been absolutely fantastic in the first half of the season for the very first time in his 5-year career. And again, if he keeps it up, should be all-star representative, maybe with Cole Young and George Kirby this season. Trident's up. Let's go M's. 78 subs to go to 24,100. Gained another sub since the last commercial break. Thank you so much. 77 subs to go to 24,100. We're at 10 on the Dono train. 90 to go. And let's see where we're at on the likes and how close we are to 150 to 200 with 235 in the room. All right, we're at 118. All right, we're at 118 likes, 82 to 200. And shout out to Chris to get us going with a $10 dono, 90 to go. First pitch from Murray to Young, low and away. 1-0 pitch, a little dribbler to second base, throw to first, and that is out number 1, excuse me. Got ahead of myself. Down goes Cole Young, 1 away. Next up, leadoff hitter, third baseman, Brendan Donovan. Let's go, Donnie. First pitch from Murray to Donnie, pops it up, and out of play, 0-1 count. Jaden Murray on the mound. Brendan Donovan in the box. 0-1 pitch. And a hard hit ball into shallow right field. Cam Smith is there, and that is 2 away. Donovan flies out to right fielder Cam Smith of the Astros. Next up, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. First pitch to Julio. Popped up into deep left field. DeZenzo is there, and that is out number 3. 3 up and 3 down there for Houston against Seattle. And let's see who's up next here as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning for the Houston Astros. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Astros in the bottom of the 6th, 1 for 2 with an RBI and a K. First baseman Christian Walker. Batting second in the 5-hole, 0 for 2 with a K. Right fielder Cam Smith. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a run and a K. Left fielder Zach DeZenzo. And let's take a look at Brian Woo's line. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks, 85 pitches, 61 strikes, 3.98 ERA. So he got it below 4 finally. And let's see if he can end up getting 9 or 10 Ks before he exits here. Trident's up. Let's go M's. I mean, we definitely have had the Astros number. We've won 8 in a row. So normally that has never happened, where we get on such a hot streak against this team. But again, they're really injured. And this is the poorest their pitching has ever been. They normally are the top dog, in the AL West. And, right now the Angels and Athletics, probably are feeling pretty confident when they play Houston more times than not. And, obviously the Rangers and the Mariners feel the same way. So we've had our, fair share of injuries as well, but not as many as what Houston is experiencing. First pitch fouled off, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away to Christian Walker. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour missing. 1 ball and 1 strike from Wu to Walker. And let's see if Wu can get a couple more Ks before he exits here. 1-1 pitch popped up and out of play. And I'm super excited for Bryce Miller tomorrow. And not really excited for Castillo on Thursday. But again, if we can win the first 3 games and we don't have to go against a left-handed pitcher when Castillo is up, which it seems like he's been unfortunately in that kind of batting order where we have our worst batting order, Castillo on the mound, and we typically put up 2 runs or less when that happens, and that will be almost impossible to win even against this struggling Astro team. But 3 out of 4 would be great, but getting the sweep, aka mop, 4 in a row like we did early in the year would be fantastic. But hopefully we go against a righty pitcher against Castillo, and if we do, we might be able to do it. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Walker. And then a foul tip. Cal is down. And hopefully Cal is okay. He's already dealing with some right side soreness and some issues, obviously mentally, with the confidence and the timing. And I don't really necessarily want Cal to go to the IL, but again, if he goes to the IL for 10 or 15 days, for a week and a half to 2 weeks, and his body is right for, maybe the rest of the year, or a lot better than it is now, not only will that be able to help him mentally, but physically and in the box. And, it is a scary thought to think of having Mitch Garver and Johnny Pareda only, as catchers while, Cal heals up. But obviously, he does a good job more times than not calling a game. And, he hasn't really been the greatest on throwing guys out this season, but we really haven't had anybody that's been great this year. Garver, Pareda, Pareda, has gotten a guy out in limited time, and Garver's gotten a few, and Cal's throws have been a little wide right, but he's a tough SOB, but we definitely overworked him last season. And again, doing the home run derby, the WBC, not getting injured last year, hitting 60 home runs, again, the wear and tear on his body finally gave up and, had an injury, and really hasn't been the same, since the injury. But even before the injury, he was still on a slump. So hopefully he'll be able to, tough it out here. Bottom of the 6th inning, Wu on the mound, Walker in the box. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Wu to Walker. 2-2 pitch. Popped up into shallow center field. Julio is there, and that is 1 away. But again, based on how we've been playing lately, this would be, the time to do it. Instead of waiting, until summer or, when the team gets better, when we're really going to need them and whatnot. And we got Alex Hoppe and Cooper Criswell warming up in the pen. Walker pops up, obviously, to Julio in the no-fly zone. He gets the job done. Next up is Cam Smith, 0 for 2 with a K. Usually a good two-way player for Cam. His batting average is a hell of a lot lower than it was last season, so he's struggling a little bit in the box, but pretty damn reliable as far as defense in right field for the Astros. First pitch from Wu to Cam Smith in there for a strike. 0-1 count. Right ends up. Let's go M's. Oh, 1 pitch, high and away, but in the zone for a strike. And it kind of makes you wonder, if we still had Kisner, on the team, or if we never traded Harry Ford away, and Jose Ferrer has done some good things and some bad things, but again, having Harry Ford, as the catcher number 2, would have been interesting to see, him, catching and hitting, what that could have brought us, especially with the Cal slump and injury this season. But Garver has improved, compared from a couple years ago, but still would like someone a little bit more consistent than Garver and Breda. But, if it's only for a couple weeks, I think we can survive. 0-2 pitch. Low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cam Smith. One-two pitch. Big swing and a miss, and down he goes. Down goes Cam Smith, and that is punch out number 8 for Brian Wu. Nice job, Brian. It's at 94 pitches, so getting close to that, number where we usually pull him. Nice job there for Brian Wu. I mean, obviously we need bullpen help, and that was the reason that we did it, especially after seeing what happened with us last year. Every team's weakest position group is bullpen, and it just doesn't make any sense, during, free agency, grabbing a backup right fielder or backup first baseman. It should be, let's grab more pitchers starting in bullpen and bolster the pen, so that way you can actually have something dominant there. But it just seems like every team takes the bullpen for granted, and then you end up winning or losing more games out of that position group. You think more teams would focus on that instead of just getting reserves, in starter positions that you already have solidified. 1 ball and 1 strike from Wu to DeZenzo. 1-1 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? And he does not. 2 balls and 1 strike from Wu to DeZenzo. And if Wu can get 1 more punch out, it'll be 9, just like Logan Gilbert had a few days ago. Two-one pitch. In there for a strike. Beautiful. Painting that corner nicely there by Brian Wu. Not seeing any really, moments here of fear or, having a meltdown. Gave up a run in the second and a run in the third and has been very good since. 2-2 pitch. Popped up and out of play. And right now, Wu with back-to-back really good starts. It's starting to get, to that Kirby level, and hopefully Hancock will get there as well if we get run support for him. And, we're going to run a 6-man rotation with Castillo for a week or 2, and then hopefully they are smart enough to decide, hey, Castillo's a liability pitching 6 innings, but if we throw him in the bullpen, he might actually help us, get 3 outs, from time to time. And that actually would be, probably a big, kind of ego hit for Castillo. But again, based on what he's doing as a starter this year, he's just not good enough. 3-2 pitch from Wu to DeZenzo. Little dribbler towards third base and foul. And there's going to be times where Castillo in the pen will have a meltdown and give up 1, 2, 3 runs, just like he has as a starter. But also there's going to be times where he's great, where he'll end up getting 3 strikeouts in a row, or 1 or 2 strikeouts and having an easy 1, 2, 3 inning for the Mariners in the 6th or 7th inning. So it just makes sense to put Castillo there, but they have to monitor Miller to make sure he doesn't have any setbacks. We don't have access to Logan Evans since he had an injury in spring training, and we don't have Cade Anderson in the bullpen yet. And obviously we have options, Cade Anderson and Ryan Sloan in the future. And we're still waiting on Colt Emerson to get the call up, probably sometime in June. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Wu to DeZenzo. Get this punch out, Wu. Smoke him. Get punch out number 9, just like Logan Gilbert did a few days ago. 3-2 pitch. Got him. Great outing there for Brian Wu. And again, we've seen 2 really good pitching performances And back-to-back starts for Bryan Woo, and also back-to-back starts for the Mariners with George Kirby and Bryan Woo. And again, Logan Gilbert ended up having a great start, had a career, season high 9 Ks, but we weren't able to get the win for him against the White Sox because Pizarro blew that game. But again, pitching isn't really an issue, starting pitching at least, besides Castillo. And then obviously we still worry with Mooney coming in to save games, and our bullpen is obviously injured with no Gabe Spire, no Matt Brash. And again, we just have to try to stay afloat the best way we can. Nice job there by Bryan Woo. Let's look at his final line, and it was great. And it looks like me putting him on the thumb did not hurt us one bit. And that makes me happy. All right, Bryan Woo, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 9 Ks, 104 pitches, 74 strikes. And the best part, he's got his ERA down from 4.02 to 3.91. And if he wins this game, which we should, he'll improve with a 500 record. Instead of 2-2, he'll be 3-2. And then he gets another win, he'll be 4-2, and he'll be on that path where George Kirby is. Nice job by Bryan Woo. We've had a slow start out of Logan Gilbert, Bryan Woo, and Logan Gilbert. And again, Kirby's been great, but Woo is getting on that Kirby level, and we love to see that. It's shocking when you see Woo get rocked like he did against the Cardinals for 7 and 6 against the Royals, but he is human, right? Let's see who's up next here in the top of the 7th. Rebecca with a 5er. Appreciate you. All the love and support. We're at 15, 85 to go. Shout out to Rebecca and our female viewership. It's going through the roof. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 3. First baseman Josh Naylor. Batting second, big dumper Cal Raleigh. And batting third, Randy Arozarena. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. First pitch from Jaden Murray to Josh Naylor. High and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Josh Naylor. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the 7th inning, 7-2 Seattle. Trident's up. 2-0 pitch. Popped up and out of play. 4-seam fastball, 89 miles an hour there by Jaden Murray. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 7th inning, 7-2 Mariners. Two-one pitch, high and inside. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, missing by Murray, maybe by a half inch, if that. 3 balls and 1 strike to Josh Naylor. Let's go Nails. And Naylor crushes a laser into right field, but foul. If we win tomorrow, we'll be, and we win obviously here today, we'll be at 500. And then even if we drop the game with Castillo pitching on Thursday to go 1 game below, we'll still have an opportunity against the Padres, hopefully to win 2 out of 3. And, eventually, we're going to be above 500, and we might have to wait until after that Padres series to get there. But, we just got to be able to plug away. The American League is not very good this year. National League is, doing a little bit better, at least early on. Slow dribbler towards third, throw to first, and good hustle there by Josh Naylor, but just not in time, and that is 1 away. Next up is Cal Raleigh. 0 for 2 with a run, a base on ball, and a K coming into the game. 0-36. It's the biggest drought that he's had in his career, going back to Florida State as well on the Mariners. And again, definitely overworked them last season. Kind of shocked that he didn't even have any early injuries. But again, at the most demanding position in baseball, catcher. Again, if you end up doing what he did last year with the home run derby, the WBC, and hitting all of those 60 home runs from the left and the right, squatting for 2 to 3 hours every start, eventually your body will wear down. And And we just have to hope that Cal can get going. Naylor and Julio were really bad in the first 10 games, and they've turned it around. Now we just need Cal to do the same as well. 1-1 pitch from Murray to the big dumper. Come on, Cal. 1-1 pitch. And Cal with a base knock. Here we go. And the drought ends. There we go. Cal with a single, and he finally breaks the drought. Woohoo! Awesome. So now we don't got to worry, about that number going to 0-40, 0-50, because the higher it goes, the more it mentally affects the player, right? They know where they're at. They know they're struggling. They know they're shitting the bed. And great job there by Cal Raleigh. Took a walk in his first at-bat, and then finally getting a hit here against the Astros. A big relief. And again, you had the whole dugout stand up and cheer, and again, that definitely makes us feel good. Nice job, Cal. 0 for 38, 1 for 39. But we don't even have to talk about the 38 anymore now. We can just go from a reset number. So, great job, Cal. You're 1 for 1 now, and we'll see where it goes, moving forward. Good job, Cal. 0-1 pitch. Low and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. And it kind of felt like, he was going to end up getting a hit at some point, especially against this bad pitching group of the Astros. I mean, shit, if you can't hit against the Astros, you're never going to get a fucking hit, So glad that he finally got it done, and hopefully he'll be productive tomorrow and Thursday. Because, again, if we're going to have Castillo on the mound on Thursday, we might need Cal to homer, or get something big in that game with everyone else. So especially if we end up having a lefty on the mound against Castillo, and we end up starting like Connor Joe and Rob Refsnyder and Mitch Garver. Usually when we have Castillo on the mound and then we go against a lefty, we put up 2 runs or less, and that's not going to be enough to win with Castillo giving up 4 to 6 runs as a starter. But again, hopefully they're smart enough to move him to the pen in a week or two. 0-2 pitch, hard hit ball. Randy in right field. It drops there. Go, baby, go. Go, Cal, go. Run, Cal, run. And Cal is coming home and safe. Let's go. Nice hustle by Cal. We know he's not the fastest guy out there, and he's still dealing with a little bit of that right side soreness, but he ends up coming home. Great job by Randy. Another RBI. And an RBI double there as Cal and JP have a hug, and Cal ends up getting a congratulations from Wu and everyone else. Wu with the towel, waving him off, and he's getting high fives from everyone in the dugout. I love this team. Great leadership and great sportsmanship by everyone on the roster there. Nice job there by Randy. Nice hustle by Cal Raleigh as well. Randy Arozarena with a double to right, 8-2 Mariners. Next up is Luke Raley with a little dribbler to second base, throw to first. Nice hustle by Luke, but he is out, and Randy runs to third. 2 away. Next up is JP Crawford. And let's see if JP can do what he did the last time Randy was at third, get an RBI single to make it 9-2. And it doesn't hurt my feelings when we end up beating this team up. We've gotten beaten up by this team for years. And, it just so happens within the last couple years, we've been dominating them. We're on an 8-game win streak going back to last year against the Astros, winning the last 3 and then 5 games so far this year. And we're on pace to win 9 in a row if we can hang on to this 6-run lead, which it feels like we will. First pitch to JP. Fouls that one off behind the plate. Seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, fouls out towards first base. No balls and 2 strikes from Jaden Murray to JP Crawford. Yeah, I mean, even if Castillo doesn't turn back to being an average pitcher, if he can end up being, average to above average in the pen, and then Miller takes the spot, and then Mooney gets a little bit more consistent, we end up getting Robles back, Matt Brash back, Gabe Spire back, call up Colt Emerson and Kate Anderson, then the team is going to be like full strength. And a full strength, healthy Mariner team is going to be one of the most dangerous in the American League, and again, we know that the Rays and the Yankees are good this year, but again, if we end up having a fully healthy team, whether that ends up being in summer or after the All-Star break, it's going to be a different version of the Seattle Mariners at that point, for sure. 1-2 pitch, fouled up back behind the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. But again, if you just look at the talent on this team, even though we've had a lot of injuries and mistakes and, some poor, slumps, by a few players, again, you just go back maybe 6 years ago and beyond, and we used to strike out 15, 20 times a game. Our starters might be able to get 10 Ks, but we were only scoring like 1 to 2 runs and, striking out 15 to 20 times. You have to be really blessed and thankful that, all of the, criticism that we have been giving management over the years, they finally have done a good job the last couple, to put us in a position to go on deep runs, thankfully. 1-2 pitch, and JP pops it up. Should be a routine play here in center field. Bryce Matthews is there, and that is out number 3. JP is not able to get another RBI single, but again, Cal end up getting his first hit, and 0 for 38, make it 1 for 39. And again, the streak is over. And not only did he get a hit, that we were able to bring him home. So we actually made his hit worthwhile. And I know that makes it even more special for Cal, knowing that he just didn't get on and then it ended up being, nothing. He actually ended up coming home. So great job there by the Seattle Mariners. Randy Arosarena doubled the right. Cal Raleigh scores 8-2 Seattle. And Randy has just been red hot lately. He's the only player that's close to 300. He's at 299. So 1 more hit. He's 3 for 3 today. And again, we have a couple players, on the road trip that are batting 500, 3 of them. So we just got to keep it going. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Mariners with a comfortable 6-run lead. We needed a little bit more insurance yesterday, but we still ended up getting the victory. Next up, in the 7-hole, shortstop, 1 for 2 with an RBI and a K, Braden Shoemake. Batting second, 0 for 2 in the 8-hole, center fielder, Bryce Matthews. And batting third in the 9-hole, catcher, 0 for 2, Christian Vasquez. And we will see who comes in here for Brian Wu. Hoppy or Cooper Criswell, I believe. And it is Alex Hoppy. Career high 104 pitches there for Wu. All right, and let's see what we get out of Alex Hoppy. We, have gotten some good and some bad, out of Hoppy. He has the ability to punch out 2 or 3 guys at times, but also he's young. He's a AAA pitcher, obviously from the Tacoma Rainiers, and we have a few of them on the team right now, with Brash and Spire being injured. So first pitch, a little dribbler. Cole Young is there, throw to first. As reliable as they come, they don't call him clutch for no reason. And another single save there by Cole Young. Great job. My favorite defender on the team by a long shot. And again, Colt Emerson is the same type of player, very quick, to jump up and be able to make those outs. And again, once we get Colt and Cole playing together, it's going to be a dream come true. No disrespect to J.P. Crawford, but, Emerson is going to be something really special. It may take him, a little time, a year or two, to really find himself like he did with Cole, but you'll definitely see some flashes for sure. First pitch from Hoppy to Matthews, low and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch fouled off by Matthews into right field, out of play. Four-seam fastball, 98 miles an hour by Alex Hoppy, who's done more positive things than negative things since his call up, from the Tacoma Rainiers, AAA affiliate for the Mariners. 1-1 pitch from Hoppy to Matthews, and a little blooper, shallow center field. Woo! Julio, sliding grab on the knees, saving Hoppy. Nice job, Julio, in the no-fly zone. That was pretty. One of the best defensive plays Julio has made. And again, Julio has been a a little shaky defensively this year for the very first time. The hitting got better, for him, but defensively, he's had about 4 baseballs that he's overrun that have ended up, causing, the other team to score runs. And as long as he can get better angles out in center field, he'll be able to improve his fielding numbers. A great job there by Julio. First pitch to Vasquez from Hoppy, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. No balls and 2 strikes from Hoppy to Vasquez. And the same thing goes with J.P. Crawford. It has kind of overran, in the timing and the angles of a few baseballs, to prevent him from being able to get some easy outs to Naylor at first. Has had a few high throws to Naylor as well, but thankfully Josh has got some long arms and long legs to bail him out of any other additional errors. But again, for the most part, JP and Julio are pretty damn trustworthy. Maybe not as trustworthy as Cole this year, but they're definitely getting better. 1-2 pitch to Vasquez, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Hoppy to Vasquez. 2-2 pitch, check swing. Did he go? And there it is. That is strike 3. Nice job there by Hoppy. And again, we have a lot of these guys, that are kind of unproven, but we just have to be able to, do our best and stay afloat while Brash and Spire are injured. Good job there by the Mariners, and a good job there by Alex Hoppy by not giving up a home run or any ribbies. We have to appreciate anybody that comes in with not a lot of experience that ends up not giving up any RBIs or home runs. Good job, Alex. Now let's go to the top of the 8th inning and see if we can get another run or two. Let's see if we can get to double digits before this one is over. Next up, 1 for 3 with a run and 4 RBIs. Has a grand salami here earlier today, DHing the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. Batting second, 0 for 3, second baseman. Let's go 1 for 4, Cole Young. And batting third, 1 for 3 with a walk, third baseman, Brendan Donovan. Trident's up. Let's go M's. I mean, if every game could be like this, but again, we just have to make sure that we appreciate every time we have performances like this. We gained 4 more subs since the last commercial break. 73 to go, 24,100. We're at 15 on the Dono train, 85 to go. And let's see where we're at on the likes, how close we are to 200 with 249 in the room. All right, we're at 131. We only need 69 more to get to 200. And obviously, when the Astros were beating us up in years past, there would be a lot of Astro fans in the room talking a little bit extra. But since the last 8-game win streak, we'll see a few, come in, but they usually don't stay for the whole game for a number of reasons. Josh Naylor bobblehead, 2-day giveaway against the White Sox, May 18th and 19th to the first 10,000 fans. Really nice job by the Mariners and the company that ends up making those baubles. It actually looks like Naylor. They ended up having a social media post of him checking out his first bobblehead, and a very clean look there for Naylor. Love baubles. Besides getting hats at a Mariner game, the bauble is always my number one. I'm not really a pop collector. I do collect every toy in the book except pops. I'm not really into those, but I do like the bobbleheads, and I do like the hats, like the one I'm wearing that I got on the 4th of July a couple years ago. First pitch to Dominic Canzone from Blue Ball, 1-0 count, high and away. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Blue Ball to Canzone. And a little dribbler there. Throw to first. And that is 1 away. Down goes Dominic Canzone. Next up is Cole Young. First pitch to Cole. Low and away. 1-0 count. AJ Bluebaugh, a righty on the mound. Cole Young in the box. 1-0 pitch. High and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Cole Young. Come on, Cole. I mean, if it's anything Mariners, I'm going to like it. You know, the do-rags, the bandanas, I got a few of them. You know, the hats, I got a few so far because I usually go on the 4th of July. You know, I'm usually doing 99% of the games here on the channel, and I usually will go to 1 or 2 Mariner games a season. Lately, it's only been 1 because I've been really focusing on the growth of this channel, but usually me and my best friend go on the 4th of July. 2 years ago, we got this hat, and we went to see the Orioles when they were a playoff team. Super exciting. And we saw the Pirates, but we missed Skeens by a day and got another hat, and they're doing a bucket hat this year, so... 3-1 pitch from Bluebaugh. And Cole Young ends up taking a walk. Cole Young takes a 5-pitch walk. And next up is Brendan Donovan. On deck is Julio Rodriguez. First pitch to Donnie, pops it up. Shallow left field. DeZenzo is there, and that is 2 away. Next up is Julio Rodriguez, and then we know Julio hit a home run yesterday. This would be a great time to get a home run to make it 10-2 on AJ Bluebaugh. First pitch, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Top of the 8th inning, 8-2 Mariners. And again, anytime we can end up winning games like this based on the season that we've had, you know, we have to appreciate, you know, games like this. You know, they're not going to happen all the time. You know, obviously they've been happening lately against the Astros, but again, it's only one of a few teams that we kind of really have their number. Hard hit ball by Julio and foul. About 10 rows left of the pole. That would have been an amazing home run. And we got some Mariner fans out there that look like they got that ball. One ball and 1 strike from AJ Bluebaugh to Julio Rodriguez. You know, and the Mariners, just like any other team, you know, play up to the competition and sometimes play down to the competition. And luckily, we don't have to play the Royals, the Angels, and the Athletics all the time. Otherwise, you know, things would get very, very tough. But, you know, even teams like the White Sox, where, you know, we should be able to win 2 out of 3. Sometimes we only end up winning 1 game, you know, and sometimes we get swept. You know, we just have to, you know, see who's on the mound and who we have available in the bullpen, and hopefully the bats do their job. But, you know, every game is kind of a mystery besides when we play the Astros. We kind of, you know what to expect most of the time, but tomorrow, Bryce Miller making his 2026 debut, and then we got Castillo on Thursday. So those will be much harder than yesterday and today, no doubt. But we can still win. We did win 4 in a row against the Astros, and that was a turning point of our season early in the year. 1-2 pitch, big, swing and a miss. Down goes Julio, and that is out number 3. All right, potentially the last opportunity here. And let's go to the bottom of the 8th inning and see who's up next here for the Astros. Next up for the Astros, 1 for 2 with a run and a base on ball. Second baseman Jose Altuve. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a base on ball and 2 Ks, Yordan Alvarez. And batting third, 0 for 3 with a K, third baseman Isak Paredes. Trident's up. Let's go M's. $73 subs to go to 24,100. We're at 15 on the dono train, 85 to go. And we got 249 in the room. Let's see if we can get as close to 200 on the likes before this one is over. We're at 138. All right, we have 138 likes, 62 to 100, or 62 to 200, excuse me. $62 to 200. And we got 251 in the room, so we should be able to get to somewhere in that 150 to 200 range. Yeah, they don't really do too many visors. You know, that definitely is like an 80s, 90s thing, you know, kind of like with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with John Gruden back in the day. You don't really see too many of them anymore. Sometimes you'll see them in NASCAR and whatnot. But, you know, I did like the captain's hat that they had with Victor Robles last year. I never ended up getting one of those, but my best friend actually went to the game with his dad and got that. And, you know, as far as like another type of hat that I think that looks pretty clean is that, you know, blue, you know, City Connect captain's hat that, you know, it's like a, you know, of a ship, you know, that type of vibe and whatnot. I thought they did a pretty good job with the style with that. And, you know, most of the giveaways are, you know, pretty good. I mean, really the only ugly thing I've seen the Mariners give away was the fanny pack hat. You know, that might be the worst thing I've ever seen. But other than that, everything else has been, you know, very stylish. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Alex Hoppe, who's in there again against Jose Altuve. Now, the last time that we saw Hoppe go 2 innings was in his debut, and he did really well in the first inning where he got 2 punch outs, but then he had a fucking meltdown in that next inning, and hopefully that doesn't happen here. 1-2 pitch, low and away. Slider 89 miles an hour there by Hoppe. They don't want to really use too many guys at this point since we're up by 6, I understand. 2-2 pitch. And it also gives Hoppe a little bit more time and experience on the mound, so good for him as well, as long as he doesn't fuck up here. Pitch fouled off here by Altuve, out of play in right field. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 8th inning, 8-2 Mariners. That feels good. 2-2 pitch, Altuve popped up into center field. Julio is there, and that is 1 away. Well, I might look young, but I'm 44, so, you know, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, so, you know, we got people of all ages in the stream, you know, people that are 13 to 20, you know, and a lot of people in between and a lot that are 65 and up. So I get the metrics on, you know, who watches, how old, and where in the world they're watching from. So as well as female numbers, you know, compared to male numbers, and female viewership is up because of people like you and support from you. Rebecca, appreciate you. And again, we get people in the United States and Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. And again, if you are watching from anywhere that I just mentioned, I appreciate that. First pitch takes a strike, looking high and away to Yordan Alvarez, 0-1 count. One pitch, and Alvarez pops up. Should be a routine play for Julio again, and that is 2 away. No fly zone is staying busy here late in the game. Nice job there by Julio Rodriguez, doing what we know that he can do. A Ken Griffey Jr. type out in center field. Nice job there by Julio, and that is 2 away. Next up in the 3-hole, third baseman Isaac Paredes. I mean, usually they'll open up, you know, T-Mobile, you know, usually an hour and a half before the game starts, you know, and again, they have a lot of great food vendors. They got a lot of memorabilia to look at, you know, with the bobbleheads and game used bats and balls and whatnot. And they also have 2 team stores that are in there. They have a small one, and then vendors that are all around the stadium, and then they have a big one that's downstairs. So I definitely would be trying to get in about an hour and a half before first pitch. And again, at least an hour before. And if it ends up being a giveaway, you're going to want to be there, as soon as the doors open, before that time. So, because again, if, you have a capacity of, 20,000 to 30,000, and they end up giving away an item for the first 10,000, you want to make sure you're one of those, in line. So 1-2 pitch, low and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes from Hoppy to Paradis. I'm 44, and I've been a fan of the Mariners for like 40 years, since I was about 3-4 years old. So big swing and a miss, down he goes. And again, we're going to have people that have been here since the very beginning, since the Mariners, first year. We are in the 50th anniversary. You're going to get people that have been fans in the 80s and 90s like myself, and then even people that are newer, to the Mariners. And again, it doesn't matter if you have been a fan for, 40 plus years or just within the last couple years. It's all about hopping on that train and staying on it, and, going through the ups and the downs. And again, we're going to go through peaks and valleys, but when things are good, it definitely makes you feel a certain type of way. All right, let's go to the top of the 9th inning and see if we can get 1 or 2 more runs for extra support. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 4, first baseman Josh Naylor. Batting second, 1 for 3, 2 runs, a base on ball, and a K. Finally got off the schneid, was 0 for 38, and finally got that first hit, Cal Raleigh. And batting third, having a fantastic day, 3 for 3 with 3 runs and 3 RBIs. One of the most productive games in his career, Randy Arozarena. And he also has a 2-run blast early in the game to give us the early 2-0 lead. Nice job, Randy. End of the 8th inning, 8-2 Seattle. $73 subs to go to 24,100. 15 on the Dono train, 85 to go. And let's see where we're at on the likes. Hopefully we can get as close to 150 to 200 before this one is over. Looks like we're at 149. We only need a 51 more to get to 200. Yeah, once you end up getting a ball, it changes you. I've never gotten a home run ball, but I have gotten, 5 baseballs in my lifetime, 2 AAA balls for the Minnesota Twin affiliate that was here in Oregon, the Portland Beavers. They no longer exist, and that was when Kirby Puckett was playing. And a line drive into right, and down goes Naylor, and that is 1 away. And I've gotten 3 Mariner, baseballs, which I'm very blessed. I've only gone to like 9-10 games, and I've gotten 3 baseballs. So it's not like I'm a Zach Hampel and I'm going to be getting every ball, and I'm knocking kids over and stealing balls from other people. But, I got a Kike Hernandez ball when I went with my dad, who's a Dodger fan since the 50s. And that was around, 2018, 2019. And then in 2022, in Julio's rookie year, I went to go see Julio and Bobby Witt Jr. And I got a Julio foul ball in the 9th inning, which was wild, right at the end of the game. And then I ended up getting an Aaron Judge ball about 2 weeks later when he ended up breaking the record of 62 home runs. So I've been very blessed with, having the honey badger mentality when I go to a game. And Cal Raleigh with a base knock into left. And look at that. You went 0 for 38, and now he's 2 for 2. There we go. Big dumper is back, baby. And momentum goes both ways, right? When you're going in a slump, it goes one way. When it rains, it pours. But when things are going good and you got Uncle Mo behind you, then you get 2 singles for Cal Raleigh. Unbelievable. Great job, Cal. Next up in the 5-hole, Randy Arozarena. First pitch to Randy, high and away, 1-0 count. But again, the food options, at T-Mobile are amazing. Every year they keep getting better and better, and they also have vendors outside of the stadium that you can, like I said, if you like hot dogs, you'll get a plain hot dog with barely any condiment options that will probably run you, $8 to $12. But if you go outside of the stadium, they have a vendor that does like Ichiro dogs, Griffey dogs, Edgar dogs, and they're about 3 times the size of a normal hot dog. All the condiments that you would want in the world. They even do like cream cheese and like grilled onions and these like crazy combinations that are delicious. And then you get a bag of chips and a drink, and you get the hot dog, all the condiments, extras, drink and chips, and it's probably like $5 or $6. So it might be a little bit more, this year, but it's definitely a better deal for certain items outside of the stadium. But then obviously, people get hungry, halfway through, and, they got, great options for Asian food, pizza, burgers, nachos, you name it, they got it. Top of the 9th inning, and usually it's not too overpriced either, especially with the sodas and the beer as well. So top of the 9th, runner at first with 1 out. Cal Raleigh going 2 for 2 in his last 2 at-bats after going 0 for 38. And bat gets away from Randy, and then a laser towards third and foul. Top of the 9th inning, 8-2 Mariners. Runner at first with 1 out. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Yeah, there's also like tips, on how to be able to get a foul ball, at a game. And I usually have a certain type of line drive by Randy right up the middle. And Randy goes 4 for 4, one of the best games in his career. But for me, like when I go to a game, I'm going about 15 to 20 rows back, off first base or off third base, because that's usually the trajectory for a lot of foul balls or in that particular area. And then I always try to get a seat on the aisle. So if it's me and my best friend, he'll let me sit on the last seat in the aisle, either seat 1 or seat 15, depending on what side we're on. And then that way I can run up and down the aisle, and I can cover not only our row, but maybe 3 or 4 rows in front of me, 3 or 4 rows behind me, without running anybody over. And you maximize your chance to be able to get a ball that way. So that's how I've been able to get, 3 Mariner balls out of like 10 games that I've been to. So, but you can't be on your phone. You can't be drinking too much. You can't be eating too much. You have to be watching the game and focused, because in a split second, that could be the difference between getting a ball or not getting a ball. As everyone knows, it's not easy. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Luke Raley. But again, even when I was 10, I got 2 foul balls for the Portland Beavers, and I snuck to the front row, and I even got batting gloves from a guy that hit a grand slam. I yelled down at him and didn't think that he would throw his gloves up at me, but he did, and I still have them in a Ziploc bag to this day, the same Ziploc bag from 1992. So, again, sometimes you got to be in the right place and the right time. 2 balls and 1 strike from blue ball to Luke Raley. 2-1 pitch from AJ Blue Ball to Luke Raley. Big swing and a miss, low and into the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Luke Raley. But, once you end up getting, a souvenir, home run ball or foul ball, it definitely changes you and in the way that you look at the game and just the feeling of getting one, because when you go to a game, you see how many people are passionate, kids and adults, on getting a ball. I mean, it's, one of the biggest thrills for sure. 2-2 pitch, high and away. Good patience there by Luke. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from AJ Blue Ball to Luke Raley. Three-two pitch, low and at the knees, and that is ball 4 on pitch number 6. And like my best friend, Justin, that you see like on the thumbnail, obviously for the profile pic on the channel and on social media more times than not. He used to live in California as well as in Oregon, and he's been to 50 to 60 Mariner and Dodger games, and he's never gotten a ball. So I would love to be able to get my best friend a ball sooner than later. And it would be, even if I end up catching one or getting one, scrapping for people with one. I've already gotten plenty. I would love for him to be able to have that same feeling as me. So top of the 9th inning, bases loaded with 1 out. We got J.P. Crawford in the box. 0-1 pitch, fouled off and out of play. When I got the first baseball, it was a very surreal feeling because it happened I've gotten baseballs in the first inning. I've gotten it in the, middle of the game in the 5th and 6th inning. And then I've gotten one at the end of the game. So my first ball was in the first inning, with the Kike Hernandez ball when they came to Seattle in 2018, 2019. And the vendor ended up walking, security, about 30 seconds before I got the ball and said, "This is a foul ball area. Keep your head on a swivel." And 30 seconds later, a ball came into that area, and it was just crazy. And then I got the Aaron Judge ball in the middle of the game around the 5th or 6th inning in 2022 when he broke the 62 home run mark. Obviously, we know Roger Maris had the 61, and everyone else that broke the record ended up doing steroids or PEDs, so we don't really count those guys, right? The Maguires and the Sosas and whatnot, Barry Bonds. And then the Julio was in the, top of the 9th, at the end of the game, or bottom of the 9th at the end of the game in Seattle. So 1-2 pitch, high and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. From blue ball to Crawford. But the weird thing is that, I have a lot of ESP moments, and where I can predict things, or I dream about things, or I see things or say things, and then it happens very shortly after. And I'll go into that here in a moment. 2-2 pitch, low and at the knees. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with bases loaded and 1 out. But I had a kind of a prediction that if I were to get my first ball, if I had to, get past the grandma or grandpa and, get the ball, I'm going to get it. And lo and behold, when I ended up getting my first ball, I sat next to a grandma and grandpa that were like 90. It was like, it was grandma, grandpa, me, and my dad. And, and that bases loaded walk brings home another run, and that is 9-2 Mariners. And I was the 3rd seed in, and so I had to slide past the grandma and grandpa, and this guy with the ZZ Top beard was in the aisle seat, and he had a glove, and I didn't. And he dropped the ball twice. Once up high in his glove, once, in front of him in his glove. And when it dropped onto the ground, I slid past the grandma and grandpa and grabbed it, on the steps next to the, railing, and picked it up with my offhand, my left hand. And then the guy that dropped it twice got mad, and he body checked me from behind because he was pissed that he dropped it twice and thought I was going to drop it. And he smashed my knees into the stairs or into the, concrete steps. And my knees bled for 9 innings, and, security came and they kind of clowned him for dropping the ball twice. And he was with a bunch of his buddies, like 10 of them in the whole row. It was like him and all his buddies. And, it felt good, not necessarily having my knees bleed for 9 innings, but to get a ball was amazing. Next up is Dominic Canzone. He already has 1 grand slam. Will he get another? First pitch, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. And this is one of those games, if you're a Houston Astro fan, you're just, can this game end? And we've been in this position before as well, where you're having a meltdown at the end of the game and there's no chance to come back. But, if we can get past 10 runs, this would be great. 1-0 pitch from blue ball to Canzone. High and away, 1 ball and 1 strike from blue ball to Canzone. Mariners challenge. And that gets overturned. 2 balls and no strikes from blue ball to Canzone. Two-0 pitch to Canzone. Big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 1 strike with bases loaded and 1 out. 9-2 Mariners. And Crawford walked. Cal Raleigh scored from third. And it's just great to be able to see Cal being productive again. 2-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. AJ Bluebaugh on the mound. The Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone, in the box. Let's go, Dom. 2-2 pitch from Bluebaugh. High and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Bluebaugh to Canzone. And if Canzone can force the walk here, we'll get that runner from third to score, and it'll be 10-2 unless he gets a big RBI or a big home run here. 3-2 pitch. Popped up and out of play. If you're going to get a glove, get one where you live. Go to like a Dick's Sporting Goods and get a glove there. Or if you just want to get like a used one, go to like Goodwill. If you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, but again, they don't really sell necessarily gloves at, T-Mobile per se, unless they have something that's like autographed, for $1 bajillion. 3-2 pitch, hard hit ball by Dom, deep right field. And on the warning track, it's caught. Runner tags up from third, Randy, and scores 10-2 Seattle. Nice job there by Dom. But again, if you're trying to, catch a ball wherever you're at and just, have a mitt, that would be my recommendation. Just get one at Dick's if you have extra money, if you want like a new one. And if you just want a cheap mitt to try to get a ball at the game, and just something that you can throw the ball around with your friends after, go to Goodwill. You might be able to find one for, $5 to, $15. Maybe 20 at the most. So nice job there by Dom by the stack fly. Randy scores 10-2 with now runners at first and third for Cole Young. Come on, Cole. Randy scoring 4 times today. One of the best games we've seen in Randy's career. And he's been very, very quietly consistent for us. 0-1 pitch from Bluebaugh to Young. And Young with a little dribbler up the middle, throw to first, and that is out number 3. But not after the Mariners do a little bit more damage. I really wanted us to get to double digits. It's not something that we get to do often, but it always makes you feel great when we can get there. Crawford walked with bases loaded. Cal scored 9-2 Mariners, and then Canzone with the sac fly moments ago. Randy scoring from third, and now it's a 10-2 lead. And again, for all those years, the Astros and the Astro fans, gave us hell. It's nice to give it right back to them. Let's go to the bottom of the 9th inning and see who's up next here for Houston. Trident's up, baby. Great job there by George Kirby yesterday and Brian Wu here today. 73 subs to go to 24,100. We're at 15 on the Dono train. 85 to go. Now let's see if we can get a few more likes from the people in the room. 282 in the room. Let's see if we can get to 150 to 200 on the likes before this one is over. We're at 163. Only 37 more to get to 200. We can do that. We're at 163 likes, 37 to 200. We got 267 in the room. Yeah, and sometimes that happens, with the ricochet effect. I remember before I got my first ball, I went to 2 games, with my dad. And again, the first game that we went to, it was a late game in the evening, and the next game was like an early, afternoon game. So it's like a 7 p.m. start and a 1 p.m. And in that game, there was a ball that landed underneath the seat right next to me. But I didn't want to be that guy to knock over the guy's tall boy beer at Nachos. He had a nacho helmet and a big tall boy. And then the guy that was in one row in front of us had kind of an eyes view underneath the seat, and he didn't give a shit. He just knocked over the guy's beer and food and grabbed the ball. And I was pretty close, but I just didn't want to be that jerk, guy. And I guess, sports karma, the next game that next day, I ended up getting a ball in the first inning. So, but I almost had an opportunity to get 2 in 2 days. And, I thought, man, I'm 6 inches away from getting my first ball. Crazy, but ended up getting one the next morning. So First pitch popped up to Whitcomb, and that is one away. Nice job there from Gonzalez, who's in the game now. Nice job by Cole Young. Next up is Cam Smith. First pitch there by Gonzalez, fouled off, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, low and away to Cam Smith. And this is Domingo Gonzalez. Two balls and 1 strike from Domingo Gonzalez to Cam Smith. 2-1 pitch, fouled off. And Jose Ferrer obviously on paternity leave, so this is why we have this individual in for us now, making his MLB debut. Welcome to the show, Domingo Gonzalez. 2-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss and a punch out for Domingo Gonzalez on his second batter. Nice job. First career Major League strikeout, baby. Next up is Zach DeZenzo. First pitch is low and away, 1-0 count. All right, baby, let's go. One-0 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes from Domingo Gonzalez, making his MLB debut here as a closer against Zach DeZenzo. And the reason we have him is Jose Ferrer ended up having a baby, obviously with his partner and whatnot. So he's on paternity leave for a few games. And it gives an opportunity for another player to show if they can help us win. 2-0 pitch, high and away, 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour, 3 balls and no strikes to Zach DeZenzo. 3-0 pitch in there for a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike to Zach DeZenzo. Domingo Gonzalez on the mound. Zach DeZenzo in the box. Let's go, Domingo. 3-1 pitch, and that's a walk to DeZenzo. Mariners up 10-2, and hopefully we'll be able to have a 10-2 final. Mariners challenge. Call is confirmed. Next up in the 7-hole is Braden Shoemake. First pitch in there for a strike to Shoemake. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch fouled off behind the plate. Yeah, and you don't necessarily need a glove to get a ball. You know, all 5 baseballs that I've gotten, 2 AAA balls when I was 10, and 3 baseballs for the Mariners within the last, 4 years, 5 years. I've never brought a glove, and I've been able to get 5 baseballs in my lifetime, 2 AAA and 3 major leagues. So 0-2 pitch, and a little blooper to center field that falls in front of Julio, and runners advance. And now we got runners on corners, I believe, at first and third with 2 outs. Come on, Domingo, finish strong. Next up, center fielder Bryce Matthews. First pitch to Matthews, crushes it towards third base and foul. Sinker 93 miles an hour. Bottom of the ninth, runners on the corners at first and third with 2 outs, 10-2 Mariners. And we got Bryce Miller making his 2026 MLB debut for the Mariners tomorrow, and I'm very excited. 0-1 pitch popped up. Julio is there. This should be out number 3. And there it is, baby. What a great complete game that we got here from the Seattle Mariners. George Kirby on the mound yesterday. Brian Wu on the mound today. No problem. And now we're only 1 game below 500. Let's go. Let's go over the stat line for both teams. Final score, Seattle Mariners 10, Houston Astros 2. That's 9 in a row against this team going back to last year. And when the Mariners win, what do? We fucking dance. Mariners win, Mariners win, Mariners win. Fuck yeah, let's go. All right, let's go over the stat line for both teams here. Start off with the Astros. Jose Altuve, 1 for 3 with a run. Yordan Alvarez, 0 for 3, still batting over 300, 308. Batting third, 0 for 4, Isaac Paredes. Christian Walker, cleanup hitter, going 1 for 3 with an RBI. Cam Smith going 0 for 4. Zach DeZenzo, 1 for 3 with a run. Braden Shoemake, 2 for 4 with an RBI. He had a good game. Bryce Matthews, 0 for 4. And Christian Vasquez in the 9-hole, 0 for 3. And then obviously Tatsuya Imai, we crushed him in his first opportunity against the Mariners where we had him go out in a couple innings. We did it again. He only pitched 4 innings, 5 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks, 80 pitches, 46 strikes with a 9.24 ERA. And he came in with a 7.27 ERA. So almost like a Luis Castillo kind of pitcher at the moment. And let's take a look at the Mariners now. All right, Brendan Donovan, 1 for 4. Julio Rodriguez, a rare 0 for 5 after homering yesterday. Josh Naylor, 1 for 5. Cal Raleigh going 0 for 38 and then getting 2 hits, 2 for 4 today with 3 runs. Great job, Cal. Welcome back to the party. And one of the best games in his career, Randy Arozarena, 4 for 4, 4 runs, a home run and 3 RBIs, and now he's the first Mariner player above 300 in a long time. Nice job, Randy. You've earned it. Luke Raley, 1 for 3 with a run. JP Crawford, 1 for 3 with a run and 2 RBIs. JP had a good game. And Dominic Canzone, 1 for 4 with a grand salami, 5 RBI day. Great job, Dom. Obviously the grand salami by Dom, and then we had the big 2-run blast, obviously by Randy Arozarena early on as well. And then an unfortunate 0 for 4 day for Cole Young, but he'll bounce back tomorrow. And Brian Wu, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 9 Ks. Hoppy came in and did a good job getting 2 Ks, not giving up a run. And Domingo Gonzalez making his MLB debut since Jose Ferrer is on paternity leave. And he ended up getting 1 K. Ended up having a walk, but still ERA is 0, and that's what it's about. Welcome to the show, Domingo Gonzalez. Final score, Seattle Mariners 10, Houston Astros 2. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. Well, that one felt good. And again, appreciate all the people that came through to show love, to like, sub, donate, comment, share. We're on a 9-game winning streak after winning here tonight against the Astros going back to last year. 3 games last year. And obviously we won 6 games, 4 at home in the first 2 here in Houston. And we got 2 more to go. Bryce Miller on the mound tomorrow and then Luis Castillo. So hopefully we can get the job done. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow evening. And I got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us? Your boy Orion, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Final score, Mariners 10, Astros 2. Tridents up and go Mariners.